I found a penny.
Nice. What year?
2023.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Film is Okie Dokie.
Is that the intro?
I am Tommy. With me, as always, is CJ. CJ, how you doing?
I'm 1 penny richer. How about yourself?
I am good. So you found a penny. What year was it minted in?
2023.
Wow. Not vintage. Not vintage.
No,
That's a shame.
relatively new. It was head side up though.
Oh, that's good.
It's lucky.
Find a penny, pick it up. If the head side is up, you will have good luck. If the tail side is up, then you'll get hit by a car. That's usually how it goes.
I thought it was truck, but you know.
Oh, fuck.
You did really miss.
Right.
You really missed the
You're
limerick there.
No, but see, that's where you zag when they expect you to zig.
You are a zagger.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm good, man. Man, it's actually been a little while since we talked, hasn't it? Because you've been busy. You actually,
Yeah.
I feel really
I've
bad
been
for
crossing
you.
state lines.
Bruh, you have a very busy social calendar this time of the year.
Always.
Always, but it really hits home in like the wedding graduation time of the year. Like
we do have a lot of weddings this year. I think
you had a lot of weddings
busy
last year.
No, we had 2 weddings last year.
But you also had wedding related activities.
Well, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. How many weddings do you have this year?
This year, we have potentially 5 weddings.
Wow. And if I get married, that's 6.
We have potentially 5 weddings.
What the fuck? Don't say no to love.
No, we just know that you wouldn't actually invite us. Let's be real.
Wow. You would maybe be the only people I would invite.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That and the
so
audience.
This is all to say you're doing well. You're on the track to marriage. That's what I'm hearing.
I didn't say that at all. I'm just saying if I got like an impulse. I watched Anora. That could happen to me.
You could get swept up in your own Cinderella story.
I could meet a very wealthy Russian heiress.
I have a feeling that the events of your night would not go down the same way as the events of Anora, though.
Well, yeah, that's probably fair to say. But here we are anyway.
Yes. So you've been well?
Have been relatively well. I got a letter in the mail that really just you ever just get sent down a path because of somebody else? Like today, like innocuously enough, today I got a letter.
Okay.
That sent me on a complete fucking adventure.
Usually the only time I get sent by other people down paths are when people are like, hey, can you go walk down that path for me? And they point to like a really shady stretch of the woods where definitely some like, I don't know, some sort of fairy tale creature's waiting to jump me. So
you're not a path less traveled. Like you want to stick to the rivers and oceans you're used to.
But I try to not chase waterfalls.
Oh, good. Yeah. So I got a letter. Okay. You own your car?
Yeah.
Okay. So I recently bought my car. I had a lease. And I'll put you guys up on some game if you don't know. Okay. So I leased my car from Toyota for 4 years because I had a 3-year lease and I extended it twice, which you can do with Toyota. And then at the end of it, I bought it because it was going to be cheaper for me to buy this car than it was going to be for me to get something else, right? Totally makes sense. And so I go to the bank. I went to a bank and I did a lease buyout. Are you familiar with this process, Tommy?
I'm familiar with what it is, not the nitty gritty of the process since I've never gone through it myself.
Sure. I'll just give a very top level overview of what a lease buyout is. Essentially, you owe. So when you lease a car, you agree to give it back at the end of the lease, right? You're just borrowing the car, basically.
Right.
It's Toyota's car.
Right.
However, you're liable for anything that happens to it. Now,
Right.
when you do a lease buyout, you have the right of first refusal. If you want to buy that car, you can buy that car. You get first crack at it. If you decide that you don't want to buy the car, you give it back, they take it, and then you don't worry about it anymore. You already agreed to give it back at the end, so they're going to take the car, right? Makes sense. A buyout is when you pay the residual or what's left on the car, and that is agreed when you sign the lease 3 years in advance or 4 years in advance, right? Everything makes sense. So you're going to pay the residual on the car. So I did a lease buyout. I went to a bank and I said, hey, bank, can I have a loan for this money so I can buy my car? And they said, sure. Here's the paperwork that you need. And here's all the important things that you need to do. You need to get a copy of the title. You need to get a lien release from the title holder, who's the leasing company, Toyota. You need to add us to your insurance so that if something happens to the car, because if something happens to the car right now, Toyota would get a check. If something happens to the car after the bank finances it, the bank wants to be the one that gets paid. Okay. Nothing crazy so far, right? Everything makes sense. So when you go to do this, there'll be a lovely person at the bank who will give you a checklist of things to do, and you hand in your paperwork, and then only once you've given them all the paperwork and it all gets approved, do they give you the documents to sign. And then you sign it, and then you own your car. And then you start making payments on the loan that you just took. So I got a threatening letter in the mail yesterday, and I read it last night, and it said, hey, you did not provide us with proof of insurance. Which was one of the conditions for the loan, was that I had to have insurance, which I do, by the way. Never not had car insurance. And they said, the letter said, if you don't have car insurance, you have to provide proof of insurance, and you have to prove that if something happens to the car, that we're the ones that get paid. It has to say that. So, and you don't have that. And your insurance does not qualify. So, you have 45 days. If this is not fixed in 45 days, we are going to assign a premium onto your car, which will be insurance to cover our losses. So, basically, I would be paying their insurance that they would take out to pay them if something happens to the car.
Right.
But if I was in an accident and I got hurt, it wouldn't cover me. So, I'm like, well, this is stupid. I already did this. Why is this a thing, right? Because I already did this. So I called, and they said, oh, yeah, you're going to have to come in. I'm like, okay. So I tell my boss, and I'm like, this might take longer than an hour, which is how much time I get for lunch. I'm like, I'm warning you. I don't know why. All right, no problem. Just come back when you come back. So I go there, and I wait there for half an hour, and I get into the office with the lady, and she's a nice lady. She says, okay, we do not have proof of insurance. You did not provide proof of insurance. And I said, well, I have car insurance, and I brought with me proof that I have car insurance. She goes, this doesn't mean anything to me. I'm like, okay. I said, what proof would you like? If my identification card is not proof, what would be proof? She said, we need your insurance amendment declaration. So when you do this, you call up your insurance company and you get them to amend your plan to put the new bank on the documents, right? Okay. So I had it on my phone. So I pull up my phone and I say, here you go. And I show it to her. And she says, sir, It doesn't do me any good to be on the phone. And I said, okay. I said, can I print them? She says, yes, we will only accept hard copies. Or you can use our website. Went to their website. I'm not going to say the name of the website. The website is the sketchiest fucking website I've ever seen in my life. It is not run by the bank. They have a third party doing it. It looks like somebody trying to make a website that looks like a bank's website, but is intentionally bad. Like, it looks like a phishing scam. I'm like, all right, and then just put your social security number in this box. I'm like, no. Oh, no, I'm not doing that. So I'm with her, and she's pulling it up on her computer. She's like, it's safe, I'm sure. I'm like, it doesn't even have HTTPS. I'm not doing this. This bootleg. I said, I'll mail it. So I said, I'll bring it back. I said, can I print them here? She said, no, you can't use our printers. Our printers are for official business only. I said, this feels like official business. This feels like bank business. She said, it's not. This is your business. We're going to get our insurance no matter what. We don't, this is a warning for you. And I'm like, she's like, we might have to garnish your wages. I'm like, I haven't missed a payment. What are you gonna garnish my? So then she's like, oh, I didn't mean garnish. I'm like, then what did you mean? She's like, I misspoke. So I'm like, okay. So I go to Staples. I run over to Staples and I pay like $4 to run off this copy from my phone. And then I go back to the bank and I wait in line again, and I'm waiting to meet with her. And I get back. She says, you're back. And I said, yeah. I said, here you go. Here's the paperwork. Here's the letter that you guys sent me, and stapled to it are the 4 documents that are the amendment, and here you go, here they are. And she says, oh, no, we can't accept them in person. I said, what does that mean? You said you would only take paper copies. She goes, right, you have to mail them to us. I said, I'm right here. She says, I understand. I said, Who's going to get them when they come in? She goes, me or someone in my department. I said, I can't give them to you? She said, no, they have to be mailed. I said, okay. I said, here? They have to be mailed here? She goes, oh, no, they can't be mailed here. If they're mailed here, we won't get them. I'm like, okay. I said, so I can't go outside and put this in your mailbox? She goes, no. I said, okay, where do I have to send them? So she gives me the address. It's a P.O. box at my post office where I have my P.O. box. So I'm like, are you serious? So I like so now I gotta go get an envelope. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll just run to the nearest place that I can get a big envelope is the grocery store. It was closer than Staples. So I go in there. While I'm in there, I'm like, I'll just get a couple things, right? And just don't waste a trip. And it's early on a Tuesday. We're recording this on a Tuesday. It's like 11 a.m. or 11:30 a.m. on a Tuesday. They're stocking the shelves. And you got all these blue hairs out who are like, do I want bologna or baloney? It's like, oh my God.
Oh, wait, are they at the deli? They used to go to the deli?
No. They're at like the case in the front with the hot dogs.
Okay.
So then I'm like, okay. So at one point, because there's like carts in every aisle and there's boxes piled up everywhere. So like, it's like single file, right? So I move over to the side to let this lady through. And then what I want is right in front of me. So I'm going to let her pass. And then she's going to like move out of the way. And then I'm going to get what I need so I can get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we're in the chip aisle. She walks right up in front of me and stops and looks around and then turns.
CJ is
starts
slowly turning,
looking at the chips like she'd never heard of potato chips before. She's like, lightly salted or salt and vinegar. And now my patience is run out. I'm sitting here like, what are we doing? It's chips. They haven't really had a chip breakthrough since you were born. Like, the chips are basically the same. as far as I know, like in my lifetime, there's been no chip breakthrough. So I'm like, you don't know what kind of... So finally, I'm like, excuse me. She's like, wait, your turn. I'm like... So then another minute goes by, and then she doesn't get any chips at all, and she walks away. So then I'm like... So then I go to self-checkout. I got my envelope and everything. And then I walk up, and there's this lady next to me, and she goes, excuse me, how much is the avocados? And I said, I have no idea. She goes, well, that's very rude. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't buy any avocados. Why don't you put them on the scale? She goes, well, why don't you go back and look at them? I'm like, why don't you go back and look at them? So then she's like, how rude. I want to talk to your manager. I said, I'm wearing a black collared shirt in a store where everybody's uniform is a red t-shirt. I said, I don't fucking work here. She goes,
I don't think I've ever been mistaken for working somewhere once ever.
It happens to me all the time. You don't wear collared shirts like I do. That's it.
That's gotta be it.
I wear a collared shirt like every day. So I'm sitting here like, are you fucking kidding me? So I'm just trying to scan. She's like going on with somebody else about how... I'm like, ma'am, it's not complicated. Take your fucking avocado and put it on the scale and type in avocado. And then she put it on the scale like she'd never been to self-checkout before. Like, we gotta... People, reality check. It's 2025. You better have learned how to use self-checkout now. It's coming. This grocery store...
It's been here.
This grocery store that I just went to for the envelope used to have 10 checkout lanes last week. And it had...
Last week?
And it had 4 self-checkouts.
Wow.
Now,
so they just made the switch.
Now it's got 10 and 5 regular checkout lanes. Okay, okay. Imagine, if you will, 6 grocery cart lanes, okay?
Wait. Can I just take a second? I just want to take a moment to take in the glory of where we're at now. We're at the 6 grocery store lanes, imagining them. We started at buying out the lease.
We're
started at buying out the lease.
The story ends, has an end.
Keep going.
So, like I said, they're remodeling, right? There's 6 grocery cart lanes from left to right. Okay? They're numbered.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As grocery lanes are.
What number would you think the one to the farthest left is?
It's either 1 or 6.
Okay.
Probably 1.
Okay. I would have said 1. It's 6. Fine. What is the lane second farthest from the left? So the one to the right of number 6.
It's gonna... You said that there are 6 in total?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's either 5 or 7.
It's 1.
Oh, why?
I saw that today and was like,
what's
why?
Is
2.
2 after 1?
It goes
what about
6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, that's uncreative.
I was like, I hate this. I said, why? And the lady says, the manager says, they put up the wrong numbers during renovations, but we kind of like it. And I'm like, I live in a fucking loony bin.
It's quirky.
I hate it.
It's their store's equivalent of Holds Up Sport.
Tommy, look at me in the eyes. I don't think I can go back there.
You don't think you can go back there because
I can't do it.
So how many grocery stores do you have as an alternative to this place? Is this your main grocery store that you are now writing out of your life? Because
it was my main grocery store. I've been weaning off slowly to a different one. So we have an Aldi, we have we have 2 Hannafords, we have a ShopRite, a Walmart, I say the Aldi?
Yes.
We have a local place that's like a big grocery store, but it's locally owned. And we have a Sam's Club. And I'll include Target because a lot of people get their groceries at Target. So there are options.
And is there any other things like, yeah, I've been not going there because, you know, the deals aren't as good, the produce isn't as fresh, or is it predominantly I don't like the way they number their self-checkout lanes?
That's
they're
today.
not their self-checkout
That
lanes,
might be
just
the
their checkout
straw.
lanes.
The big reason I stopped going there was because they stopped carrying my brand of water.
Ah.
Yeah, I like Poland Springs. They stopped
Right.
carrying it in the 24-ounce bottles, or the 16-ounce bottles.
Right, since you are buying, right, I forgot that you buy the water bottles despite having a Brita and using
We talked
a Yeti.
about this. We talked about this.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. You are the number one contributor to our dying planet.
Fuck off. All right.
The number one contributor.
Anyway, so I got the envelope, and then I went to the post office, and I got in there, and I immediately looked at who was in line, and there was somebody in line.
It was the deli woman.
Yes, it was the deli woman.
Actually,
trying to get a passport.
Oh my! Where is she going? Where?
Nowhere.
Where is she gonna go?
Nowhere.
Is she gonna go to like fucking Portugal?
Bruh.
Where? Oh,
The deli woman was there, and she was like nails on a chalkboard. As soon as I saw her, I was like, I'm not getting out of this fucking post office.
Oh.
There was one guy working, and she's asking him every fucking question about this form. And basically, he was like, I can't help you. I can't help you. These questions you have to come back when the passport people are here. The passport person doesn't work every day. They take appointments. You just can't come in and get a passport done. And she was just like, yeah, but, like, okay, but on this form where it says here, it's like, he can't help you. He's a cashier. That's what he is, man. He's a cashier in wool pants. Like, I'm sorry. He does the mail. He doesn't do passports. So then this other person comes back from their lunch and like comes and stands at the counter, and then all of a sudden we're going right through. I need a stamp. Can I get this form? Yo, you need this form or this form? I need that form. Okay, cool. And what do you want? I was like, I need to mail this. Cool. It's coming here. Yeah. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. $5. Get out of here. She's still there. And she's like, he's like, I can't help you. And she's like, I understand, but I have more questions. And I was just sitting there the whole time like, she ain't going nowhere. She just wants to talk. She wants a friend.
CJ, could you please like take an index card and write on it, I host a podcast. We would like to have you on as a guest.
No.
Contact me here. And the next time you see her around town, you give her that.
No.
Because we need her on.
Why?
Pick your favorite movie. We will watch it with you. Come talk with us.
No.
Please.
Why do you want that?
Why do you not want it?
She's insane.
Think of the content. Think of the content.
I live the content.
I think we would have a lot of fun chatting, the three of us. I think she'd have a good time.
I think you would have a lot of fun chatting with her. I think
she'd probably have a great time too. It's just going to be self-inflicted misery on your part because we're going to be having a grand old time.
You would be doing a whole bit the whole time. She would legitimately be like so excited to have somebody to talk to. And me would just be like knowing that like she's being subjected to this.
It's not a bit if I mean
eldritch
it, CJ.
horror.
It's not. My bits are an eldritch horror now.
I said what I said.
Maybe to you. Jeez. So where did this end? Did you end up getting your thing sent to the post office?
Yeah, I had to mail it to the post office.
Oh, jeez.
So apparently,
what a nightmare.
when that happens, everything gets routed. So it gets routed to that post office. So it has to get routed. So it has to go in the back, get sorted, come back, and then they can put it in the PO box. They said it's going to take 3 days. I'm like, fine. Can I get like a signature? And they're like, no. I was like, can I get any confirmation? They're like, you can get tracking. I'm like, okay. So I got tracking.
Wow. Tracking for it to send to pretty much the same building.
So I have a PO box. My PO box and that PO box are in the same cubby area.
You couldn't just like go up and knock on the PO box and be like, "Let me in."
Little pig, let me in. Yeah. So yeah, that was my Tuesday, isn't it?
Just a normal Tuesday in CJ World.
Yeah. What else is happening? You saw. Well, I don't know if you want to recommend it later, but you saw some movies lately.
I saw a movie lately. Yes. I had to think. You said saw some movies, and I was like, wait, some, and I had to think. I was like,
you've seen more movies than me recently.
I've seen one movie recently.
Okay, Easter was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and saw 2 movies that weekend
that we talked about on the last show.
Oh, I don't.
That
remember.
I recommended in the last show. Actually, it was 3 weekends, or no, yeah, it was 1, 2, 3 weekends ago, and 2 weeks ago, I recommended the movies I watched.
All right. So you saw Thunderbolts.
I did see Thunderbolts.
Yeah, and what did you think?
It was all right.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna be real. I don't have a whole lot to say about Thunderbolts other than this is what an MCU movie should be at the minimum. It's pretty solid, which is like more than most franchises could hope for. It's like, yeah, this is what they should be. This is a step in the right direction. This feels like what they were in their first decade and not in the past like 7 years.
So this is better than some of the mass-produced slop that we've been getting.
To quote my Letterboxd review, probably the third or fourth, yes, third or fourth best one of these of the 14 that have come out since Endgame.
All right.
So it's fine. It's not really something I was like, I gotta talk about this on the pod.
No, I hear you. I'm just making conversation. You know,
I know where you bring up the movies I've watched lately because CJ, you've got movies of your own that you watch that you want to talk about.
Dude, I'm trying to make this a dialogue.
Everything is ulterior.
No.
So manipulative.
So fast.
CJ, what did you watch lately?
Yeah. I went and saw Revenge of the Sith in theaters, which I don't know if I talked about on the podcast or not, but
you have not.
So I went and saw that in theaters, and then afterwards, and I'll talk about that in a second, but afterwards I was like, you know what? I'm going to rewatch all the Star Wars movies. It kind of came to me in phases. I kind of was inspired to watch the prequels, then the original trilogy, then the sequels. I did watch Rogue One and Solo as well.
Nice, which you famously had said you would refuse to ever watch Solo. You said this on the podcast. I did?
Well, tell me something I said I would never do. I did watch it, and I gotta say, it was fine.
That's the one I have not seen, so I do not have anything to add for that.
It's fine. It's not the worst Star Wars film I watched. I watched them all back to back to back. It was not the worst. So I've been trying to find a way to incorporate video games and movies into my life, and so my current schedule is I get off of work, I get something to eat, and if I don't have anything else going on in the evening, I play for a few hours, and then I watch a movie, then I go to bed. So that's kind of been working. So I watched one movie a night except on the weekend when I realized that May the 4th was coming up. I wanted to finish the Star Wars movies by May the 4th. Solo got watched on the 5th, but that was because I wasn't planning on doing it. I actually watched it because you told me that Jade liked it, and I was like, okay, I'll watch it. Like, I wasn't going to, and then I was like, I don't think that Jade is so far off base that like she would steer me wrong here. So I watched it. She's got a pretty good track record on recommending things I like, and it was just fine.
Keep in mind, that was not a Jade recommendation.
It was
that
not
was
a
just
Jade
something
recommendation.
Jade liked.
It wasn't. It was not a recommendation for sure. To be clear, I don't want to put that evil on her. But it was good. So, seeing Revenge of the Sith in the theaters really like made me nostalgic. I remember seeing that in the theaters when I was a kid. I didn't realize 20 years had gone by. So, shame on me. I'll be the old person in the theater when Infinity War and Endgame were 20 years old. Going back to see them in the theater. But I did give them all grades. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I rated them all.
Okay.
In what order should I do this in? Should I do this in like sequence order, like 1 through 9?
I think just run down, what is it, 11 movies?
Yeah.
Run from top to bottom, your number one movie, just list them all back to back in order of top ranking to bottom ranking.
Okay, I don't have them set up that way. Okay, so the highest grade that any of these movies got was Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, episode 5.
Yes,
very
episode
nice.
5. Very classic answer. I gotta say, I do think that the best Star Wars movie is the original.
Okay.
I think that it's pure nostalgia and excitement.
Yes, nostalgia for that movie that came out 15 years before your birth.
13. Fuck off. Anyway, so it's just like watching it as a kid and being like, oh my god, this is the best. All right, the 4s. So Rogue One was a 4. I mean,
Okay.
I remember now.
So hold on, just to clarify. At the top, episode 5, then episode 4, but that's kind of a he said, she said situation.
Episode 4 is also a 4-star.
Okay, I'm just gonna need the number 1 on the list is this movie.
I can't do
number
it.
2 on the list is this. Okay, so 1A, 1B is episode 4 and 5.
Okay, so number 1 is 5, number 2 is 4.
1A, 1B, got it. Number
right.
3.
Rogue One is number 3.
No. All right.
I'm flipping through what I wrote down. Okay. Number 4, the only movie that got a 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Wow.
It's kind of all downhill from here. Wait, did I like The Force Awakens? I also gave The Force Awakens a 3. So that's number 6?
That'll be 5.
5, okay.
Episode 5, episode 4, Rogue One, Revenge of the Sith, Force Awakens.
After that one, The Rise of Skywalker.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, I just want to make sure. Did you skip Return of the Jedi?
Oh, where's Return of the Jedi? Oh, Return of the Jedi is a 3.5. So that would be above. Again, I didn't have it prepared this way, so I apologize. It would be above Force Awakens.
Okay.
It would be above it would be above Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
Return of the Jedi. Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah, so
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, then Rise of Skywalker, then Solo.
Okay.
Okay. Then we're putting on Phantom Menace.
Okay.
Then The Last Jedi.
Okay.
The only movie in the whole series worse than The Last Jedi is Attack of the Clones.
All right.
That movie is wet garbage.
Just to run through from top to bottom, you have episode 5 and 4 and 5 at the top. Yep. Rogue One, Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker, Solo, Phantom Menace, The Last Jedi, Attack of the Clones.
Return of the Jedi is above Revenge of the Sith, but otherwise, yeah.
Okay. Return of the Jedi is above Revenge of the Sith, but otherwise, yeah.
Yep.
So, rewatching them, I guess, how did you like this experience revisiting all of them? Did any of them surprise you? Did any of them disappoint you?
The one that fell off the most, the one that surprised me the most, that I liked the least, going back, and I hated Attack of the Clones. I remember that movie being like the really cool one with all the battles and stuff. It's a fucking rom-com.
Yeah, see, I always remember that one as the really, really boring one.
It's very boring. And then when action does happen,
easily
it's
the weakest one.
Really weird.
Yeah, I think it's easily the weakest.
They could have done so much with Dooku. They did nothing with Dooku. Like, he was not built up at all, like Darth Maul was in Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace kind of feels like a Star Wars adventure, which was my main takeaway, was that the original Star Wars, Phantom Menace, and Force Awakens all have, like, the same beats. Like, hey, we're just gonna bang this drum.
Yeah, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah. I didn't remember liking Rogue One that much, but I was reminded of something that you said, which was when I went to go watch Andor, and you said to me, this is the reason I don't like Kenobi. This is what every Star Wars show couldn't be, is Andor, and it's not. And I was like, yeah, every Star Wars movie could be this, but it's not. So I was like, man, that's really frustrating.
Yeah, and Rogue One, it's not perfect.
No.
I think it definitely has, and let me know if you felt this too. The big takeaway for me is like the last half of it, excellent, seriously phenomenal. But the first half, all of the setup kind of getting to the final sequence and the mission, you are jumping from one planet to a next every 5 minutes. And it is just like, it's like you're holding on for dear life while the shuttle is bouncing on all around
and
you.
And you're meeting people so fast.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, who's this guy again? Like, the first time you see it, it's like, who are you? Why are you important?
It's just way too frenetically paced and way too many locations initially.
Yeah. So I will say this. I have seen original prints of the first 3 Star Wars films.
Episodes 4 through 6?
Yes. On film in somebody's home projector environment. Film reels that were unaltered because somebody had a drive-in theater, and he also had a small cinema, and he kept the reels from the original rollouts instead of sending them back or whatever, burning them. And they were really, really cool to see. The original Star Wars, like episode 4, I think it is the best one. I just like Empire a little better. Like, I love Yoda, and I love all the aesthetics of it, and I like kind of how it kind of ends on like a downbeat. And I just love everything about that movie. And it's the closest I could give to giving a movie a 5, like a Star Wars movie a 5, because it also has problems. But man, he changed, in my opinion, George Lucas went back and changed the most on Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi for me is like, I think it's the moment when it's like, oh, okay, like, yeah, this series is for kids by and large, but it's the moment where it's like really hammers home, like, no, this is really aimed at kids. Like, it's just,
well, it's the Ewoks,
it
right?
almost, yeah, but like the movie as a whole, like, it's very slapstick at times, even like sans Ewoks. It has one, like, I think the opening of Return of the Jedi and all of the shit, like with the Sarlacc pit, all of that is like maybe some of the best Star Wars there is. But then after that, it starts to go down a bit.
So if you don't know, George Lucas went back famously and edited these films way after they were released. He put in Jedi Rocks, which is a song that they play in Jabba's palace. That does not fit the tone of that scene at all. At all. Like, it's embarrassing almost watching it and being like, what was he hoping? It's like a very... Because Jedi Rocks is a very, like, upbeat, like, yeah, we're a poppin'... Everything's... This is like a disco in here. And it's like... The scene... He's like, oh, I'm gonna eat you. And then she's like, no, I'd rather die. And he's like, okay, I'll put you in the fucking Rancor pit. Right? That's that scene. It doesn't fit the tone at all. Also, he changed the ending song. Because the ending song, he also added in, like, CGI celebrations from other planets.
Yes.
Like Coruscant and Naboo and stuff.
Yes. Which I want to just step in to say, I do think that of the changes he made, including additional planets there, one of the better changes.
That's fine. It does stick out, and it's weird.
It does. It does stick out, and it's weird, but I think it's one of the least invasive changes, and I think, because you're taking stuff that was added to the world of Star Wars and just using it to kind of flesh it out and make the moment feel bigger.
Yeah, it makes it more of like a galaxy-wide celebration.
Exactly.
It's the song that he changed. Now, the song that he changed it to, it definitely fits the vibe more, right? I don't know if you remember the two songs, but...
No.
The one is like more like like chanting and like beating drums and like like very like celebratory. But the original song that ends Return of the Jedi is Yub Yub. You don't know Yub Yub?
Is it the Ewoks going yub yub and then there's a bunch of shit and then they go yub yub?
No.
Damn.
Close.
Shit.
I'm gonna as soon as you hear it. Did you ever play Battlefront 2 or the original Battlefront?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think as soon as you hear it, you're gonna be like...
Yeah, let me pull this up. Return of the Jedi Yub Yub. Yub Nub. Wow, that's why I didn't remember it.
Fuck off.
You were freaking telling me the wrong song. Oh yeah, I know this song.
Yeah. So that's the original ending.
Oh yeah, I know that song.
That's the original ending track for Return of the Jedi. So, like, there's a bunch of stuff. Like, he also adds in, like, weird creatures into all the different movies. And like,
yeah, there's a scene added in with Jabba the Hutt in episode 4 that's not normally there.
Yeah.
The one where Han Solo is, like, walking around him in the hangar and he steps on his tail.
Yeah.
And they digitally add Han Solo, like, stepping up and over his tail.
So, if you remember... I don't know if remember is the right word, but if you didn't know, in the original movie, Jabba was not a slug man.
Jabba wasn't in the original movie.
He was a Scotsman.
No, he wasn't even in it, though. It was not in the final cut.
Yeah. But that's why when he turns back and says, before he gets on the Falcon, he looks at him and says, Jabba, you're an incredible human being. The other thing that they do dirty is Billy D. Williams is dancing at the end of Return of the Jedi to Yub Nub. And now that they changed the song, he's now dancing completely offbeat.
Wow.
Really funny.
They did do him. Is no one else dancing offbeat?
They are, but they're Ewoks, so, it's not as jarring.
It's on beat in their culture.
It's not like a big chorus line. It's like, it's the scene where, like, Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill are, like, hugging it out. And then, like, Anakin... Oh, he also changed Anakin. He made him young Anakin.
Right, yeah. Which, that's another one that I'm like, yeah, it makes a little bit of sense. Like, that change makes a bit of sense. It's a bit weird.
Mm-hmm. I would be... I think I'd be okay if he went back and changed it one more time and made it older Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, I would be down with that. Because it's a bit weird, like, everyone else is as they died, except he gets to be 25 years old.
Yeah. So, like, they're not
pissed.
they're not totally wrong. You can find a despecialized version of them.
That's what I watch.
Yeah, those are better. I watched these all on Disney Plus because I wanted to see. Those are the originals. The prequels, I feel like got a lot of hate because it was really popular to hate on them. I'm starting with the prequels in that way because it's going to translate to what I'm going to talk about with the sequels. I feel like for a long time it was just fun, or it was just cool to hate on the prequels. Attack of the Clones is really bad. Phantom Menace is not as bad as I remember, but it's not it's not the same adventure, right? You're starting over. So I think that there was a lot of like Jar Jar's awful. Boss Nass is terrible, right? The Gungans are kind of goofy, but like whatever. Revenge of the Sith actually feels like a Star Wars adventure. It just feels it just sucks that it took that long to kind of get everything in place. I wish that there was another movie that was, you know what I mean? Like it feels like there could be another movie, and I guess that's what the Clone Wars, the show, would be if I were to watch that.
Yeah.
Be the adventures I kind of wanted to see. The sequels, man, it is impossible for me to watch those and not the whole time be like, man, they really didn't know what the fuck they were doing. After the first one.
Before we jump to the sequels, I did want to talk prequels real quick because like I think what you just said does apply to the prequels too. I feel like there's a sense in that as well of I'm sure George Lucas had an overall vision when he went into them and had an idea for all three, but it does feel like a bit of catch up with like, responding to the reception of the previous film. I'm with you. I'm not the biggest fan of the prequels. I know that there's been this big reevaluation over the years, and like if you look at the Letterboxd score for Revenge of the Sith over the span of like the last 8 years, the average score has gone from like middling to like really acclaimed. Like the most popular rating for Revenge of the Sith now is 5 stars. So there's been this sort of reassessment, and while I agree, like, I definitely think that the hate and everything towards these movies were blown out of proportion at the times. I do think that at best, Revenge of the Sith is the best of them, and it's fine. It's fine.
I said it was a 3 out of 5, which I think is fine.
Yeah, it's
competent.
Fine. I don't understand. Whenever someone is like, oh no, the prequels were actually good, I always ask, when was the last time you actually watched them? Like, undivided attention, sat down and watched them like a movie.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones plot makes no sense. So, I want to get this right. So, the plot to assassinate the senator, Amidala.
Yes. I sent you that one clip before.
Yeah, it was so important. I that's where it was. That's where I was remembering it from, because I'm watching it like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm watching it.
It's like,
he sends a droid that was sent by, it was so important it couldn't fail. They sent worms, sent by a droid, sent by a changeling assassin, sent by Jango Fett, sent by Count Dooku, sent by Darth Sidious. If it was so fucking important, why didn't Jango Fett just do it? Why all the extra layers? It didn't make any sense to do it that way. Like, we cannot fail, Anakin. We must kill the senator from Naboo. So, I mean, just dumb shit. Do you have anything else you want to talk about the prequels? I basically agree with everything that you said about the prequels. I don't think it's a 5. I know people have softened a lot on Hayden Christensen's performance. It's still bad. But they're more forgiving than they were because they've seen him be good. Like, they've seen him do good work as Anakin in, like, Ahsoka or whatever. And also, I think they're more forgiving because they're like, oh, he was told to act that way.
Yeah, I think it's people are realizing it's the writing and direction predominantly.
Yeah. And, like, Ewan McGregor's awesome as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Except my mom is also doing the same exercise. She called me and said, why did they recast Obi-Wan Kenobi? And I said, from Alec Guinness? Because he's dead. And she goes, no, from episode 1 to 2. And I said, no, that's still Ewan McGregor. She goes, really? I thought it was Jude Law in the first one.
That's so funny to me because Jude Law, for some reason, feels like a Ewan McGregor dude. Like,
yeah,
I can they are same brain space for me.
Yeah, so like I was like, all right, I'm see where you're going, but you got off the
really
highway.
Funny.
Yeah. So it's the beard, man. Once he gets the beard back, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, just wait till your mom gets to Star Wars Skeleton Crew starring Jude Law.
I don't think she's gonna watch Skeleton Crew.
Oh.
I'm trying to get her to sit down and watch the Kenobi show.
Why that one?
She'll like that one. Because it tells the story between 3 and 4. And then if she likes that one, I can get her to watch Andor, which she'll probably like a lot more.
I mean, everyone should like it a lot more. It's incredible.
So, the sequels. Okay. Force Awakens. I saw Force Awakens in the theater. I bought a ticket. It was at the old theater. There was no seat reservation. I got there early. I waited in line. The only thing longer than the line for the theater was the line for the bathroom. And I remember being in there and having a seat, and I sat in the middle theater, which I hate because I was surrounded by people. And the experience was awful, and I've talked about it. And there was a kid with an iPad playing in front of me and like constantly turning around and like being a kid. And the whole time I'm like, this is cool. This is really cool. This is so much better than the prequels. And for the most part, I agree, Force Awakens is better than the prequels. Except I like Revenge of the Sith more. But they did it by basically redoing the entire plot of New Hope. Like, Force Awakens is beat by beat, basically a copy of A New Hope. Even to the fact where the antagonist is in a white jumpsuit on a desert planet. And they escape on the Millennium Falcon. Like, beat by fucking beat. So, Last Jedi, I won't let people off the hook. When that movie came out, people fucking hated it. People were rabid, hated it. Okay? They were calling for Rian Johnson's head on a fucking pike. They were bloodthirsty. They were so fucking angry. I thought it was just okay. Like, I didn't love it, but I thought it was just okay. I'm like, okay, how are they going to get out of this one? Right? Where are you going to go from here? Because you killed everybody. Spoiler alert, I guess, for Last Jedi. Everyone of interest or note was killed in that movie. They killed Snoke, they killed Phasma, they killed basically the whole rebellion. They killed the Republic in the first movie to the point where it's just a bunch of resistance people. And then they had 30 shuttlecraft from their main cruiser. They killed 28 of them on their way to the Salt Planet. And then a bunch of them died on the Salt Planet, enough that everybody could fit in the main living room of the Millennium Falcon. And then they rebuilt. Okay. I'm like, where are you going to go from here? Because it doesn't make any sense, right? It's like, oh, I'm curious where it's going to go. But I won't let people forget it. People fucking hated that movie when it came out. Yeah, now,
I don't think that's something that people forget, because I still think that there's a very staunch group.
I see a lot of people now say, oh my God, they should have let Rian Johnson run with it. And I'm like, you're the same fucking people who said you wanted him dead.
I haven't seen anything of that. I still see a lot of people like, and if I'm being frank, like a lot of people, I think that there are valid criticisms of it, and plenty of people who don't like it just for whatever reason. But there are also like a contingent of people like Gamergate adjacent who really like to hate on The Last Jedi. And I definitely still see a lot of hate coming from that direction and, base of operations.
Yeah, sure. I can agree with that. This is the one movie that you and I disagree on the most, based on your letterbox and my star ratings. Right?
Probably.
Because you gave this a 4.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite Star Wars movies. This is probably like number 3.
Really?
Maybe number 2.
I think this movie has a problem that I call the Veronica problem. You saw Age of Ultron?
Yeah, but it's been a while.
Do you remember the Hulkbuster scene? It was basically the
Yeah.
set piece that sold the movie, right? It was the main marketing. Yeah. In the movie, if you don't know, in Age of Ultron, spoiler alert, Iron Man, Tony Stark, fights the Hulk in the Hulkbuster suit. And they call it Veronica, the name of the suit. The movie, that is the big scene in the movie. That is the big fight. I mean, even bigger than the schmoz at the end, and the schmoz at the end is pretty big. But yeah, like they sold tickets to see this movie for this one comic book fight. Like, we're going to see Tony Stark fight the Hulk. This is going to be big. And it's a cool fight. And it's really cool. And it's in the middle of the movie. And it's like 20 minutes long. I think the movie's better if you pull it out. I think the movie is a better movie as a whole if you get rid of that scene. And just take it directly from they lose at the shipyard to they're licking their wounds and they're retreating. Like, thematically, story beat-wise, tonally, it doesn't make a lot of sense to go down, and then all the way back up for this fight, and then down. And I've done it. I've watched the movie, and I've skipped it, and I think it's a better movie for it. I think that Last Jedi is a better movie where nothing is absolutely different at all if you remove Canto Bight.
Oh, yeah, I think that that's the weakest part of the movie.
If you remove that whole sequence where they have to get off the ship and go to Canto Bight and do the gambling, and then they find Benicio del Toro, find him at like a random space port.
Yeah, 100%. I think Canto Bight is, like, that's my big complaint about the movie, and that's why, like, I'm not, like, fighting for it is, like, one of the, like, I'm never going to say it's the best one, just because there's a lot of stuff in it that's, like, you can cut it. I really love the rest of that movie, and I think that it's often painted as a bad movie in the series because of how it was failed by the handling and, like, execution of the sequel trilogy as a whole. They started down the route with J.J. Abrams, made one movie, passed it off to Rian Johnson, and let him do his thing. No cohesive managed vision, like, from a studio perspective as to where the trilogy was going. Just let Rian Johnson do his thing. He made what I think is one of the most interesting pieces of Star Wars media in general because of how much it challenges what you expect and subverts what you're expecting in ways that make sense in terms of natural consequences for actions. But, like, there was the backlash to it that it had for many reasons that we've alluded to, touched on briefly, and many others that we don't even have the time to get into. Mm-hmm. And then they just hardcore reacted and backpedaled and brought it back in J.J. Abrams, and he made Rise of Skywalker, which we haven't really gotten to, but it's just bad. It's trying to do 2 movies in one because they forgot they were making a trilogy when they gave the second movie to Rian Johnson.
Yeah. And it's partially, feels like, really what it feels like is, hey, we don't know what's going to happen. There's nobody with the Bible that says this is how it ends. With the original trilogy, you had George Lucas. For better or for worse, George Lucas is there. These are my characters. This is my universe.
A single united vision
Yeah.
in his head.
Now, in the prequels, same thing, except we have a predetermined endpoint. We know going in, the end of the third movie is how he became Darth Vader. That is what this trilogy is. We know going in that this is the story of Anakin Skywalker. We know he becomes Darth Vader. So we know at the end of the third movie, he's not going to be the good guy. He's Darth Vader, right? So it was open-ended, and there was no one person, it felt like, that was like, okay, you can't kill all these people. That movie felt like it was going to end everything. Also, the constant, like, fluctuating of Kylo Ren in that movie, like, I'm your ally, I'm your enemy. I'm gonna
okay. And that brings me to my second complaint about it. And this is like big spoilers for Last Jedi. When they do the throne room fight, and afterwards he's holding out his hand or whatever, a lightsaber to Ren, and he's like,
to Rey.
Wait, is it Rey? Rey, yes. To Rey, and he's like, join me. And she says no. She should have said yes. She should have said yes. That is, if she says yes, I'm like, this is insane plot twist. I never thought I could see our protagonist flip in Star Wars like that.
That would have been way better.
It's so, I think that is very in line with all of these things The Last Jedi was doing, like the famous killing of Rey's parents and being like, they were nobody, because like that's the hardest thing for Rey to hear in that moment, is she's not this special person because of her bloodline. They went on and retconned that by making her have the dumbest familial relationship in all of Star Wars. But it's I think if she flips there, it's just like, oh, like I am jumping out of my seat. So I'm bummed that they didn't take that opportunity.
I hate what they did to Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi. They made him this dispassionate, like, disaffected loser. And, like, the whole first movie is about finding him. And then our reward for finding him and getting to see him in the second movie is, fuck you. I don't want there to be any Jedi. It's just like a slap in the face. I don't mind these movies standalone, but the trilogy has no cohesion.
Yeah.
We'll talk briefly about, unless you had something else, we can talk briefly about Rise of Skywalker.
Not too much, not too much.
I actually like the ending of Rise of Skywalker as an ending to the story. I don't like it. I see you're shaking your head. I like I think the whole idea is stupid. Okay? Let me just say that. I think the entirety of it's the Emperor the whole time. The stupidest thing in the world. The idea of them being a dyad in the Force, and she can heal, and Ben turns good, and they fight the Emperor together. Like, dumb. Really dumb. Like, all that's dumb. I'm not saying that anything with the Emperor makes sense or is cool. It's all stupid. It literally makes no... How did he even get there? How did he get to this random-ass planet?
You're going to have to watch Star Wars Bad Batch to find out.
Oh, is that a thing? They reveal that?
Not really, but the predominantly what Bad Batch ends up being about is kind of the trials behind beginning to clone Palpatine.
Okay. Well, anyway, so he's a clone. It's not the original Palpatine.
Yes, pretty sure. Okay. Pretty sure that's the lore of it.
We get no info on Snoke. Snoke ends up being like a test tube gerbil. Fine.
That's what we find out, is that he was controlled by Palpatine. He's a creation of him, yeah.
Yeah. Ben is like, okay, so I'm gonna bring you Rey, and then I'll get everything I ever wanted? And why would Palpatine do that? Like, okay, cool. What I hate is how the whole trilogy in the sequels, every movie's guilty of this. Oh my god, it's 10 times bigger than the Death Star. This gun is Death Star tech. It's a battering ram cannon. It's a miniaturized Death Star. Those guns on those ships are Death Star weapons. Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
It's the classic, like, preschool playground of, I have no clue how to make things interesting and impactful other than taking what we did before and say, yeah, but mine's bigger now.
Yeah, like, guess what? You know what would be just as fucked up? Hey, we're going to shoot your planet with a giant ion pulse. The people won't die yet. It'll just be an uninhabitable rock. That's fucked up. I just came up with that just now. There you go. Put that in a Star Wars movie.
And for people who are listening to the podcast, CJ actually pulled up a notepad that very clearly had Sharpie written on that I could read through the paper saying ideas to pretend I'm coming up with in the moment. And then right below it in Sharpie, I could see through the paper as well.
Wow.
Ion, pulse, cannon, planet, dead later.
I like the big aerial fight at the end. And I don't care if that's an unpopular opinion. I thought it was cool. Like, it's
at
some point
roll my eyes.
No, it's stupid, but I gotta have some reason to put popcorn in my mouth. It was cool. It was all those ships in the air. It had Wedge. Like, oh yeah, like at least be fan servicey if you're gonna be bad.
And
it made no sense that she went back to Tatooine. Why?
Yeah. No,
her
none
journey
of it made
makes
any
no
sense.
Her journey is she went from Jakku to the planet with Luke on it. She was there for like 3 weeks. She leaves. She trains in the woods on this random rebel planet until she doesn't. She kills the Emperor in the span of like a month. And then she's like, I am going to hide away in my former master who taught me 2 things, his old house on Tatooine. Makes no sense.
Yeah, and it's like, I am a near 30-year-old adult, and I'm asked what my name is, and I'm gonna choose the last name of someone who trained me for 2 weeks, and also someone who I wasn't necessarily super close with.
He taught her 2 lessons. His first lesson was, this is what the Force is. It's not unique to the Jedi. And the second lesson was, the Jedi need to go. You belong to the dark side. Get the fuck off my island.
Yeah.
And then he died.
It's not good. It's the
best part of The Last Jedi is Yoda.
The best part...
Yoda.
I mean... The Last Jedi, there's many amazing parts.
Yoda.
Puppet Yoda coming back? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. No CGI Yoda.
Rise of Skywalker is just, the best thing about Rise of Skywalker is fucking Babu Frick. Babu Frick is maybe the best Star Wars creature, period. Droids don't count, but Babu Frick, I will die for him.
Dude, I love when C-3PO gets his memory wiped. He's funny in that movie. And he's
Dude, no, C-3PO got done so dirty.
He did. But when he's like, Babu Frick, he's one of my oldest friends. That was funny.
Yeah, good line. But it's also so stupid where it's like, and again, spoilers, it's like, oh, C-3PO, he's essentially killing himself for the rebellion. Like, wiping his memory, doing a hard reset.
To be completely undone.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh man, this is so impactful. And then later on, they're like, the big climax is happening, and like it's pretty much like you're looking at the car going next to you on the highway, and C-3PO pops out of the back seat and waves like, hey, I got my memories back. Dude, it's just like, what was the point?
The first time I saw that movie, when you obviously don't know what's going to happen next, when Chewie died,
and then 5 seconds later, you find out he's
alive.
I
cried. I was like, "Oh my god, they fucking killed Chewbacca!" I was like, "I can't believe it." And then 2 minutes later, he's alive. The whole theater's clapping, and I'm like,
and don't forget, he gets a medal at the end.
For what?
Because he didn't get one in episode 6. Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
thing is stupid.
All right, so that's the end of our Star Wars episode. Thanks for
Wow,
watching.
you're just cementing in place that I don't even get any final say. You just producing me much? Excuse me? Throw
do you have any
CJ's
final
claim
thoughts?
right back. Well, overall, I'd say Star Wars. I'm gonna be honest, guys. Star Wars as a whole, it might not be okie dokie on average.
On average, no. But the shows, I think, bring up the average a little bit.
I think 1.5 of the shows brings up the average.
So half of Mandalorian and
Yeah.
all of Andor.
Oh yeah.
So the other thing I really want to get caught up because I want to start Andor.
Oh.
I was like, yeah. So I wanted to watch all the movies first. So
Mhm.
starting Andor, but I told myself I'm not starting Andor until I finish Daredevil. So I got a few more episodes to go.
Gotcha. Very nice.
All right. What are we watching? The Meeples?
So today
the
we
Feebles?
are watching Meet the Feebles. So
I
CJ,
literally know nothing about this
Awesome.
fucking movie.
I know very, very little. I picked this movie, brought it to the table because we've done movies that neither of us have watched a couple times. Chicken Run, Armageddon, Wild Wild West. I think The Birdcage and Some Like It Hot you hadn't fully seen.
Yeah.
But it's been a bit since we've done a movie neither of us has watched that is an episode with just the two of us and not a guest. So I was like, let's throw it back. Let's go back to one of these
Our
episodes
roots.
where we're going in truly in blind. Yeah.
How
How
is our record?
Alternating a bit.
How is our record, by the way, on movies that neither of us have seen?
So, Chicken Run, I said yes, you said no.
Okay.
Armageddon, we both said no.
Okay.
Wild Wild West, we both said no.
Okay.
Are we counting Birdcage and Some Like It Hot?
We can, but I think I'd seen them for the most part.
Okay. We'll just leave it at that then. So Chicken Run, we were split. Armageddon and Wild Wild West unanimous. So of 6 possible yeses, we have earned 1 in these types of movies.
That's not looking too good there, Skip.
Hey, we never know what's going to happen. So I want to talk just briefly about why I'm bringing this movie to the table. Is one, partially and predominantly motivated by wanting to do something neither of us have seen. And this is a movie I just learned about in the past couple weeks. Do you know Captain Roan?
Oh, look what you've done! That one?
Yes, exactly.
You're a
Captain
ping
Roan
pony
is a
girl.
regular in my stream, frequent chatter. He and I DM on Discord. He's a bud. And he brought up this movie like, yo, you got to watch Meet the Feebles. I don't think he's even seen it, but he brought it up to me. And he wasn't saying like, yo, you got to do it on the podcast. He's like, Tommy, you should watch this movie sometime. And I'm like, what's it about? And he goes, I don't know. So it's been kicking around in my mind. We've talked a lot about the Muppets on this show, and you are such a Muppet fan. And the one thing I know about this movie is that it is a parody of the Muppets.
Okay.
And I'm taking these descriptors from Wikipedia. The Muppets typically portray like, quote, positive innocence and naive folly. And the intent for Meet the Feebles is to do the Muppets, except they are portraying and representing, quote, negativity, vice, and other misanthropic characteristics. So we're going in for like a counterculture Muppet movie.
Okay.
How do you feel with Muppet parodies in general?
I don't know that I've seen any.
Okay.
I think puppets in general bother me a little bit, like regular puppets. So we'll see. I honestly, I have no idea. I'm coming into this as a genuine blank slate.
All right.
And the only thing that I know about this movie is what I can see from the little thumbnail in my folder here. Yeah. It looks like a California raisin with a black screen and some colored letters.
Awesome.
Have you ever seen Crank Yankers?
Crank yankers? No. I've not. Oh,
It
I
sounds
just looked
dirty,
this
but
up.
it's not. It
Oh
is,
wait, I recognize one of the puppets from this. I've seen one of these puppets somewhere.
Yeah, so it was a show on Comedy Central where they would do crank calls, but then when they would act it out with puppets.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's like some uncanny valley stuff where like puppets that look too real or like have too many human characteristics are a little creepy to me. Also there's this thing with Muppet eyes. Muppet eyes, like puppets are famous for having, or dolls in general are famous for having dead eyes. There's a thing that you can do with puppet eyes, or Muppets do this, like Sesame Street, where they turn the eyes inwards, almost like they're a little cross-eyed, but what it does is it gives it like a focal point, right? It makes it look like it's looking at something.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have the dead eye effect. It's specifically like dead eyes that really fucks with me. So I don't know if you can see Kermie back there. You gave me Kermie.
Mm-hmm.
Back next to my Halo sword.
Yeah, I see him in the shadows. You're hiding him. You're ashamed of something that I bought you.
I'm not ashamed. My basement is still being redone for months later, and so this is my laundry rack.
Gotcha. Well, how about we launder some predictions for how we are going to like this?
All right. Do we do that together?
Neither of us have seen it, so let's just open forum.
I got to tell you, I want to like it. Experience tells me that these don't go well for me.
Yeah, you're speaking truth. I hear you. I feel like my prediction is going to be...
Did you pick every movie that we hadn't both seen? Did you pick every one of those? You have.
I didn't pick the Some Like It Hots, but otherwise, yeah.
Well, I had seen that, so...
Yeah.
So, yeah, you picked Chicken Run, you picked Armageddon, you picked...
Yeah, I guess, we could say one of us is a little more willing to take risks.
I'm not saying that I'm not willing to take risks. I think that you, I don't know. I think we're going to see.
I like to play with fire. What can I say?
Yeah.
I think we're going to both be like, wow, that was surprisingly good. But then you're going to be like, it was too gross for me. And I don't even know if it's a gross movie. It's it's Muppet parody. So, but considering their negativity, vice, and other misanthropic characteristics, I feel like we might get some gross out humor in this.
Have you ever heard of Fritz the Cat?
Fritz? Is this the guy from Too Many Cooks?
No, it's Fritz with a Z.
Oh, no.
It's like a 70s cat, but like it's really raunchy and violent and gross and kind of racist.
Oh, yep. I googled Fritz the Cat and clicked on images, and the first thing I'm seeing are cartoon titties in a bathtub.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. So there is a music video. Have you ever listened to Thundercat?
Yeah.
So Thundercat has a music video which is just a scene from Fritz the Cat, and that's what I think of when I think about this movie. I'm like, that's what we're gonna get, is this scene from the Thundercat movie. What is the name of that song? I can't remember.
Dragon Ball Do-Rag.
No.
Damn, that's the best Thundercat song.
Oh shit, it's X. Yeah, here you go. It's actually not the music video. It's a video that somebody synced to it.
Wow, a fan?
I think so.
A fan cam to a Thundercat song?
Yeah,
with
but
Fritz the Cat?
It's a popular video. So, yeah, I don't know if I'll send you the link, but yeah, it's pretty awful. Just the thumbnail alone.
Oh, nice thumbnail. Yeah. It's like a cat popping out of between someone's legs in a skirt or something.
That is exactly what it is. So that's what I am expecting with this movie.
All right. Well, let's see if it is what it ends up being.
All right.
If you would like to watch the movie with us, you can pause in just a moment when we tell you to, and you can check the description for a link to the companion commentary track. Otherwise, Just keep on listening, and we will be right back. So if you would like to watch the movie with us, pause when I say now after 3. So you can pause in 1, 2, 3, now. It's black and white. So how old is this hippo if it's in black and white?
Elephants live for a long time, don't they?
Yeah, this is the hippo though.
Oh, hippos live for a long time, right?
Hippo lifespan 7 to 8 months.
What?
And for 35 to 50 years.
I really believed you for a minute. Well, good thing that we've had more hippo upskirt. Wasn't sure that we had enough.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Film is okie dokie. CJ, how you been doing the past week or so?
Yeah, I'm good. How about yourself?
I have been good. It's been warming up here, so I'm starting to get sweaty in my office since there's very little circulation up here. But, you know, what's a podcast without some blood, sweat, and tears?
I gotta be honest. You've been in my apartment. I have a circulation problem in my apartment, which is why I have so many fans. I have effectively created a wind tunnel.
See, I wish I could do that, but the location of your desk, I feel like, is a lot more open in proximity where that's possible. Mine's just like, the room with the door, and the fans are too loud for me to really run at anything substantial that actually cools me off.
Yeah, my apartment doesn't really have doors.
Yeah.
Well,
because you uninstalled them all.
Okay, don't say it that way. My office can't have a door. I did take the door off my closet because when I got the apartment, it was a little rotty. So
I thought you just uninstalled them all because you had a chronic fear of doors. That's what I was getting at.
I understand what you're getting at, but
is that an actual phobia name? Phobia of doors.
Like, it's probably something.
Entamophobia. What? What? This is actually a thing? I thought I was just bullshitting this. And
honestly,
this is a real thing.
If there's a thing, people are afraid of
it. Yeah, fearof.net reports entamophobia. Fear of doors. Wow, this is I guess it's associated with agoraphobia and claustrophobia. This makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Are you claustrophobic?
No. How about you?
I'm not claustrophobic until someone tells me I can't leave. So, like, I could be in a gymnasium, like a huge building. I could be in the stadium. If you tell me I can't leave, then the stadium feels like a bread box.
Now, I think that might be also agoraphobia. I thought agoraphobia is like the fear of, like, you're unable, like the fear of being trapped, essentially.
I thought agoraphobia was the one where you're afraid to go outside.
Fear. Let's sort this out.
I want to go outside.
Yeah. So, okay, agoraphobia is, and this is the Mayo Clinic.
Okay, good
fear
source.
And avoiding places or situations that might cause panic and feelings of being trapped, helpless, or embarrassed. So it seems a pretty big umbrella that I think captures both of the things that we're talking about.
Okay, sure.
Agoraphobia also often results in having a hard time feeling safe in any public space, especially where crowds gather and in locations that are not familiar. So it's both.
Okay, sure. I would say not to that extent, right? This fear does not dominate my life. But if you lock me in a room, I'm fine. If you lock me in a room and tell me I can't leave that room, you and I are going to have a problem.
What about, like, being told you can't go into a place? What if I, like, locked the door right in front of you to, like, a random room, and I was like, CJ, you're not allowed in this room. Do you have a sudden fear of, I gotta get in that room and see what's going on?
There's no fear, but I'd be curious about why you're locking rooms. Honestly, that's something you would do. That's some gaslighting shit you would do. Just lock a closet and be like, just don't go in there. That's my forbidden fruit. There's nothing in there. An empty closet.
I'm protecting you from the disappointment of learning that there's nothing in the closet. I'm a good friend.
I really like empty closets.
You don't like using closets for their intended purpose?
No, I didn't say that. Of course I use closets. The closets I have are full, but there's something really cathartic about an empty closet.
Okay, now do you have any closets that you keep empty at your place because of this, or no?
No, but like
Okay.
have you ever been to like an Airbnb or like when you first move into a new place and like the closet is empty? Like,
Yeah.
it's clean.
I get what you're saying. Or like there's like 4 things in there. Right?
Yeah,
Like
it's
there's
like,
not a lot
I've got a shirt hanging up and some shoes, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And wait, what is that hanging back there? What are you hanging back there? What's that bulky shadow in the
What
back of your
the
closet? Oh, well, CJ,
That thing
what have
looked
you
at
had?
me.
It looked at you? The shadow moved?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
What have they done to us?
I was gonna ask what if you've had anything eventful happen in the past week, but this seems more like an issue we gotta hammer in on.
No. Yeah, I have something eventful happen. I had to go to the DMV.
Okay, now before you get going into this, I have to ask. So Illinois kind of redid their DMVs. I want to say with COVID, to where you can make an appointment for your DMV. And you're like, depending on what you need to do, like I had to go in and get a real ID a couple years ago, and I was in and out in under 10 minutes, which I know is pretty antithetical to most people's experiences and thoughts on the DMV. Like, I mean, Zootopia has the sloths. It's that ubiquitous of a thought about the DMV. So what are New York DMVs like these days?
I will say, telling my story to some people, I have learned every state has a different DMV. Some states don't call it the DMV. First of all, every state is different. And so, and some countries, obviously, you're not in the US. This is not going to be as ubiquitous as a thought. But essentially,
real quick, what is the DMV?
The DMV is the Department of Motor Vehicles. So not just cars, that's the main thing that is registered there, but also boats and bikes also have to be registered with the Department of Motor Vehicles. It is a state-run agency. Every state has their own agency. Every state has their own rules for traffic. So you'd go there to get your license. You'd go there to get license plates. You'd go there to register a vehicle. You would go there to do anything that you would need to do transaction-wise. So in the case of me, I bought my car, right?
Congrats.
Thank you. I financed it through a bank. And so for the purpose of this transaction, I'm going to say that I bought my car. Okay. So if you buy your car, you have to pay sales tax. You would go to the DMV to get those forms and to pay the sales tax. I needed a new title because when I leased my car, the name on the title was Toyota because I leased a Toyota. Well, now the name on the title is going to be me because I own the car. I bought the car from Toyota and I got the funds from a bank, right? So when you do that, you have to go to the bank and change the name on the title. Otherwise, they still have a claim to the car, right? Whoever's name is on the title owns the car.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as simple as that, but it's possession's 9/10 of the law. If their name is on the thing that says they own it, they own it. But more than that, it might be difficult for you to do something to the car that you may need to do, like get a repair authorized or get insurance on the car or so on and so forth. So I went to the DMV, and so in New York, at least in my area, the DMV is 100% appointment only. You cannot walk in at all.
Okay.
That has been the way since COVID. Now, when I used to go to the DMV before COVID, you could just show up on the day and wait in line, and that was really long, and that was a pain in the ass, and you had to block out like hours to be there, and it took a long time. So now, I took the first appointment of the day, and the first thing I'll say is that I got there, and there used to be pay parking. You used to have to pay to park there. There's no more pay parking, but they have blocked off the entrance to the parking lot, and now you can only enter through the exit, which it's free, but you also can't enter the building from the side with the parking lot. You have to go around the building to the front. And even though I had the first appointment of the day at 8 o'clock, there was no... They didn't open the doors until after 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. There were 10 people there when I got there. Of the 10 of us, how many of us do you think had an appointment?
2.
Okay. There were 2 of us that had an appointment. There were originally...
Let's go!
There were 4 of us. One of them had an appointment for next week. One of them had an appointment for tomorrow, and the other one had an appointment for last week. So the way it works is you get a confirmation code. When you get there, you have to type in your confirmation code into a kiosk. Then you get a number. That's your number you're waiting to get called. Okay? My number was 102. So someone who had an appointment for after me actually got there in the door before me, and they served her first. So I'm like, okay, so that's fine. They had 2 people working, but I had to wait for a specific person, because I was doing a new registration. The big thing with this is that it's sometimes tricky to know what paperwork you need to bring, which is where people get screwed up. So I looked it up online. I called them and I asked them what paperwork I needed to bring. They told me what I needed to bring. I needed a copy of my bill of sale. I needed a lien release. The bill of sale would say how much sales tax I paid and how much I paid for it. The lien release would say, hey, the previous lien holder no longer has a claim to your car. They're giving up their claim. They're saying that you have paid their lien on your car. Okay? You need to bring in your proof of insurance that you have insured this vehicle. You need to bring in proof of inspection that you have had this vehicle inspected. You need to bring in an odometer statement that discloses how many miles are on the vehicle. You need to bring in a specific DMV form, which says that you're applying for a new title, whose name should be on the title. And you need to bring in $50 because that's the cost of getting a new title. Okay? So my aunt and uncle have recently gone, and I think someone else I know, a cousin or a sibling, have gone to the DMV recently, and all have been turned away for not having the right paperwork. So they're serious. They're like, you can't stand here and fill it out. You can't go into the waiting room and fill it out. If you don't have your paperwork ready, you have to go home and come back.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make a new appointment. Now, I love that, first of all. I'm ready to be lambasted and to be a martyr, and for people to say this is an unpopular opinion. I love that. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Now, is it a pain in the ass? Yes. Do a lot of people have to take off of work to go to the DMV? 100% yes. Am I fortunate that my job is flexible? Yes. However, the reason the DMV gets backed up is because people show up like these people did, and I'm going to walk through some of them, of these 10 people. These people show up with no paperwork, with nothing but their best intentions, and they clog up the process, which is why it's better to have everything be an appointment. Because then you get in the right queue, only the people that are supposed to be there get called, and when you get to where you're going, you know what you're supposed to have, you know what you're supposed to do, and you can just get in, get out. I was in and out in 5 minutes. Now, that doesn't include the 20 minutes I had to wait for them to open the fucking door, but once I checked in, I was in and out in 5 minutes. So let me tell you about some of the people I encountered at the DMV.
Yeah, let me hear them. Let me hear them. Give each of them a name.
Okay, there was Otis.
Otis, okay.
Otis was an older gentleman, and he was very friendly, but he basically was like the older guy who is getting up early to run his errands, and it feels a lot like, I don't know if your parents did this to you when you're growing up, but my parents did. You're going to put on a suit and you're going to go door to door applying for jobs at businesses. Because the best way to meet people is to meet people. Make connections.
Of course. And when you apply, you got to call them back the next day and follow up.
Yeah. And I was like, that's not how they do it anymore. They literally look at you like you're crazy and tell you to apply online.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy is that guy. He's the guy that tells you that to get anywhere in this world, you got to go in and grip and grin. Because he was like, I'm just going to go in and ask for information on how sales tax works. So he was in there and he was talking to the lady at the front desk like, hey, I need information. And she's like, we don't have any appointments today. What can I help? What are you trying to do? That's what she kept telling people. She wasn't saying, how can I help you? What are you trying to do?
Mhm.
What are you trying to accomplish?
Good way to get to the root of the issue.
Yes. She is an elected official, by the way, the person that sits at the front desk. I believe it is the county clerk that sits at the front desk. So she's there. He's like, well, I don't know how much sales tax is. She goes, it's 8%. He goes, right, but how does it work? And she's like, well, it's 8% on top of your transaction. So if you buy a car, you have to pay 8%. He's like, why is it 8%? And so she humors him for like another minute, and she goes, sir, I cannot explain to you the tax system of our country. She goes, as much as I would love to, I simply don't have the time or the inclination.
Mhm.
So he goes, have you bought a car? He goes, oh heavens, no. So it's like, okay, you don't need to know. Then why are you asking? Because I just put a down payment on a car, but I don't know how much I'm going to need for sales tax. She goes, it's the price of the car plus 8%. He goes, well, what is that? What is 8%? She goes, I can't. She goes, sir, I can't explain it to you anymore. She goes, look it up online or come back and make an appointment. But you can't, you're not, I said, she goes, nobody here is equipped to explain to you how sales tax works. That's not what the DMV is for. And I was like, oh my God, that guy. I felt so bad for that guy, but I also felt so bad for the county clerk because it's like, you know, like obviously he seemed like a sad old man who was like lonely, but at the same time, you just can't come in and be like,
No.
I
Fuck
don't
Otis.
like Facebook.
Fuck Otis.
Okay, go ahead.
Fuck Otis.
Fuck Otis.
Simple as that.
You're not doing a bit. This is how you feel.
I am stamping. Fuck Otis.
You're banging
Who's
the
next?
table for
Who's
Otis.
next?
Okay,
Let me
then
at him.
we're gonna go with Jenny.
Jenny, I hate her already.
Jenny was like in her late 50s, early 60s, and she came in and she goes,
Fuck Jenny.
so I'm in line for the kiosk, so that's why I'm like seeing everything. She goes, hi, and then the waiting area is on the other side of the front desk. So like once you get through the kiosk, you literally walk around the front desk and you get into the waiting area.
Right, you've got to get past the guards that is the front desk to get to wait.
Kind of, yeah. You have to get past the kiosk. The kiosk grants you entry.
The kiosk is the rate limiting step here. It's the real boss of the
Also,
of the
literally,
DMV.
people had so much trouble with the kiosk. Now, the kiosk also has a problem because the kiosk doesn't have a back button. So if you mistype in the kiosk, you have to redo the whole thing,
Yeah,
which happened to me
issue.
a couple times. Yeah. So Jenny goes, hi, I don't have an appointment. She goes, we only operate on appointment. And she's like, okay, so you can't, she's like, what are you trying to do? She goes, hi, I'm here for an appointment. I don't have an appointment. I need a real ID. And she's like, okay, are you flying? And she's like, yes. When are you flying? I'm flying out on Monday, like a week from now. She's like, well, you're not going to get a real ID in a week. And she's like, right. Now should I get the enhanced ID? And she's like, okay, she goes, does that let you get into other countries? She goes, only, Canada and Mexico, and only if you drive. She goes, oh, okay. So I should get the enhanced ID? She goes, what are you trying to do? She goes, I'm trying to fly. I'm not worried about not getting it in a week, though, because I have a passport. So you're saying I need the enhanced ID? She goes, no, you don't need the enhanced ID because you have a passport. It's like, oh, so I need the real ID. No, you don't need the real ID because you have a passport. Okay, so I need to make an appointment to get the real ID? It's like, you have a passport? Yeah. You don't need a real ID if you have a passport. It's like, okay, I don't understand. You need one form of ID to travel, right? You have a passport. You don't need the real ID. She goes, I don't want to travel with my passport. And then the lady looks at her and goes, "Why not?" And she didn't have an answer. She says, "When's the earliest you can get me in? Like, I'm here now." And she's like, "There's no appointments now." She's like, "Well," she goes, "I have one appointment open today. It's at 10:45. She's like, "Okay, I'll wait." She's like, "You can't wait." She's like, "What?" She says, "You can't wait. You cannot wait here 3 hours. You have to come back. You cannot wait here more than half hour before your appointment."
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, "Okay, well, then I'll have to come back." And then she left. And I was like, okay.
Fuck
That was
Jenny.
stupid. There was Eduardo.
Okay.
Eduardo made an appointment for he made an appointment for Tuesday but showed up on Monday and he got dropped off. So he had to wait.
Oh geez. Okay, I have a bit more sympathy for Eduardo. Classic clerical mix-up.
Sure. There was Rufus.
Rufus, okay.
Rufus had an appointment for Thursday and showed up on Monday, but it was last Thursday.
Okay, bit less of a clerical issue there, but you know, did Rufus make a scene at all, or was
Eduardo needed help translating. Rufus also needed help translating, but he spoke English fine. It was his comprehension of English that was the problem.
Just like with Otis.
Otis, yeah. I think Otis's comprehension is more so tied to his social situation. But yeah, no. So Rufus was sad. Otis was sad. Rufus was stupid. So yeah, that was dumb. And then they're all like, so then this guy comes. Then Johnny comes in.
Oh boy, just by the way you said that, I am ready to scream, fuck Johnny.
He pushes Eduardo out of the way.
No, not Eduardo.
Yeah. I offered Eduardo when I was done a ride somewhere, and there was a language barrier, and I couldn't communicate, and I thought about getting translate, but it was awkward at that point, and then he just waved to me and said, "Bye-bye." And so I was like, oh, okay, goodbye.
At least he's polite.
He was polite. I think I was being very weird.
He has a sense of expediency. He's not going to hang you up here and just like ask you questions about the DMV and whether or not you need a real ID.
So Johnny then pushes Eduardo out of the way. He's like, "Excuse me, I'm here. I need a real ID." Now, the real ID deadline was like a week ago or something. Or it's like this week, right? It's like if you don't have one, you're supposed to have one already.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I feel no sympathy because they have pushed the real ID deadline like 6 times.
Yeah.
I got mine the first time that there was a deadline. You know, like, if you haven't, you've known for years you were going to have to get one. Okay? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry you didn't get one.
Mm-hmm.
You knew that you were going to have to get one.
Yeah. It's like, I got mine 3 years ago because a deadline was coming up.
I got mine in 2022.
Yeah.
Mine was expiring in 2022.
Same.
So I was like, okay, I just have to get a real ID now. What's the point in not getting the fucking ID?
Yeah.
You know? Also, these expire mine in New York, mine expires in 8 years.
Yeah, Illinois, it's quite some time as well.
So, like, you have plenty of time to know that this is going to happen, right?
Yeah.
You've had 5 years. So, I'm like, okay, whatever, fuck it. So, the lady's, like, trying to explain to him, he's like, "No, you don't understand, like, I'm going out of town, like, I have to have this ID thing." Like, "I understand, but, like, you didn't make an appointment, we're only appointment only."
Mm-hmm.
There are no less than 3 signs from the front door to the 10 steps to the front desk that explain that it's appointment only.
Mm-hmm.
And people still don't get it. Like,
people can't read?
I don't think people can comprehend. I don't think it's reading anymore. I think it's just genuinely critical thinking. Like, they think if I come in and I ask politely, they will break the rules and violate the system for me. Because I asked. or I didn't know. And I think that in a lot of aspects of our current like world, we generally forgive people just for not knowing. And I like that this is a place where it's like, I'm sorry you didn't know. No, you can't actually just get an appointment. There's no appointments. Now, at one point, appointments were so backed up, they were 8 weeks out. Now they're like 2 weeks out. And for certain things, you can get in and out. You can get one a week out, right? And if you're not picky about what time and that's if you just want any time. If you're not picky about what time you get in, you can probably get one the next day. But you can't fucking come in on the same day and be like, I need an appointment. Like, that's not how appointments work.
Hi, I need an appointment for now.
Yeah, not how that works. So I was just so over it. So finally I got in, I got called in. So like I said, I was only waiting for like 5 or 10 minutes. That all happened in 5 or 10 minutes.
This just makes me, this reaffirms to me that working at the DMV is like the third layer of hell.
They also are very direct and not very nice. I'll say this. I appreciate the efficiency, but what an aspect of bureaucracy that frustrates me is this person pushing this paper across the desk does this 1,000 times a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said this when I worked at the car dealership. We work at the car dealership, we do this paperwork 1,000 times a day. 1,000 times in a year we'll do this paperwork. The same paperwork. We know it so well backwards and forwards. We can't get mad at the person that does it once. It's not their fault when they fuck it up. They don't know. They only buy 10 cars in your lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And the process changes every time they buy a car. It's not their fault that they don't know what forms they need to fill out. It's your fault for not telling them. So in that way, it's frustrating to me that it was so difficult to find out for me what I actually needed to bring. And it was also frustrating to me that I had to request documents that they did not give me by default. Because Toyota did not send me my lien release by default.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that was the creatures of the DMV.
Man, I don't know who is more of a creature, DMV goers or GDQ goers.
Oh, GDQ goers.
You think?
Oh, dude. When this episode comes out, I believe SGDQ will have wrapped up like 6 weeks ago or something.
Mm.
Dude, or a few weeks ago. If you go at, not in the day, not the daylight, but at night. Oh yeah. The pajama pants gang at night, I can't do it. I don't know how people I cannot leave my room at a hotel.
Interesting.
I couldn't do it.
So even say you're at home in pajama pants, could you run to Walgreens or something in your pajama pants? No.
If I'm leaving the house, the lowest I'll go is gym shorts. But I've only done that a handful of times.
Wow.
And most of the time, that's because I went to the gym.
Yeah, I wear pajama pants in public on occasion. I think that
at
pajama
GDQ?
pants at GDQ I have not, but pajama. It sounds like the issue is pajama pants in public.
It's pajama pants in social situations. How about that?
Okay, that makes a bit more sense.
If I'm not getting out of the car, I don't care.
I'm not gonna. So when you say social set, is me going into go buy groceries and whatnot, go grocery shopping for half an hour? Is that a social setting where I shouldn't wear pajama pants?
This is not my guide to life. This is what I would do.
Right.
I would not do that. If I was getting out of my car, I would have to wear pants with a belt.
Okay.
Likewise, no sandals or flip-flops or slippers.
Wow. Slippers to me, that's you don't go outside with slippers. You're going to frickin' get them Like wearing slippers around a hotel, that to me is like I would never do that because I'm just like, no, my slippers, I don't want them to get dirty.
No
this
shade.
Is my, like, this
No
is
shade,
this is my like cozy, like I don't want to get these dirty at all, you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's more out of that. But like slippers up or flip flops, like yeah, I'll wear slides out. I'll wear sandals.
Yeah, listen, my pajamas are a pair of shorts and an undershirt.
Mm.
Right? So like I'm not typically leaving my house in what I would consider to be half naked.
Unfortunately for us all.
Well, of course. You got to pay for that. No,
exactly.
I just like also I have had the misfortune of being around some GDQ goers that don't bathe.
Oh, of course. I mean, he who has not gone to GDQ and been around people who have not necessarily taken the best hygienic precautions raise their hand. Look at that. There is not a single person with their hand raised.
And realistically, it's just the bad apples that spoil the bunch.
Of course.
I think it's definitely trended upwards in recent years.
What? The number of hygiene issues?
No, I think that the attendees have gotten better.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was going to say in my experience it had gotten better.
It has gotten better.
Yeah.
I in no short order attribute that to the rise of women and other diverse groups.
The rise of women. Period.
Shut up.
I'm not sure what this means.
The rise of the Guardians of Gaould.
Okay. I thought you were going to say the rise of like messaging from event organizers saying please fucking bathe because
that
otherwise
did not seem to matter to anybody.
Well, I feel like especially the past like 5-6 years I have seen COVID notwithstanding, a lot of people, event organizers, like just continued messaging and continued sentiments online being like, guys, you gotta bathe, otherwise we're gonna come up and we're gonna have to say something to you about it, that it's a situation that needs to be handled, and trust me, that is not a conversation you or we want to have, so do us both a favor and bathe.
Yeah.
Hard to say though exactly what has led to this change, but I'm with you. Definitely improvement.
I'm going back into my trick bag here, but to some of and I didn't go to some of the early ones. I went to like, my first one was 2019, HGQ 2019. Yeah. Or SGDQ 2019 was my first one. Yeah. And so for that one, like, women were just like needles in haystack. There was a lot of creatures there. A lot of people that came out of a cave.
A lot of Nosferatus.
A lot of...
Wait, no, never mind. He lived in a castle.
A lot of some Funkasaurus Rex, and I'm not talking about the music. I'm just saying. Like,
Great band.
I think that the more diverse speedrunning has gotten and the more inclusive it's gotten in general, the less creatures there have been. We've also done a pretty good job of getting rid of some less than savory characters on our part, you know? Like, we've kicked a lot of people out the club. And so, you know, maybe those people were just stanky. I don't know. But it's not just hygiene. I want to be clear. It's also grooming. You have to groom, okay? You can't just hop in the shower for 5 minutes and then call it a day. Gotta brush your teeth. Gotta comb your hair. Shampoo is important, okay? Clean your ears. Floss.
That's right, you gotta floss to attend GDQ.
Shut the fuck up. Alright, let's move on.
I understand we both recently watched a movie not titled Meet the Feebles, one we talked briefly about in the pre-show.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about it. I wanted to kind of do a little spoilery here if we can. The movie, well, there's not a lot to spoil, but just talking about it in general, there is sort of a spoiler element to it. So, spoiler alert, I guess.
Do you want to even say what we're spoiler alerting?
No. Thunderbolts.
Yes, we're going to talk Thunderbolts for a few. Check the description for timestamps if you would like to skip this section.
So I went and saw Thunderbolts, and my uncle. This is not spoiler, so this is pre-spoiler.
Well, they already looked and skipped ahead, CJ.
No, because you're gonna put in timestamps that say.
Oh,
that starts after.
wow! How convenient! Wow. More work for Tommy.
Shut the fuck up. I'm just telling you like it is. So I went with my uncle, and my uncle. So the opening scene is Elena on top of like a skyscraper type.
Wait,
thing.
sorry, who?
Elena.
Okay.
What did I say?
I thought you said Elena at first, not Yelena.
Yelena.
Okay.
She like jumped off a skyscraper, right?
Yeah.
So. It's dead silent in the theater. There's no sound because the movie's quiet and everyone's like, "Oh my god, she jumped off this building." My uncle is sitting. He's not sitting in the seat next to me. He's sitting in the one that I buy as the buffer, and he goes, "Bonehead."
What?
That's like so loud.
Why?
Because she was a bonehead for jumping off the building. And then her parachute opened.
Why? Why would that be his go-to reaction though? Like, why?
He's afraid of heights.
What is he gonna think? Like, and also, you were like, yeah, because people were like, oh my god, she jumped off. It's like the first 30 seconds of the movie. I don't think anyone's like, oh my god, she jumped off the building. I think we're all just like, oh, okay, we're listening to the opening monologue.
He legitimately was like, she jumped off the building. Bonehead.
I feel
loud.
I didn't think that was something that was even worthy of a reaction. That's incredible.
I forget what happened. Something else happened later in the movie. Oh, somebody is shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler, but you'll timestamp it. Somebody
More
shot.
Work for Tommy.
Somebody was shot, and he goes, "Weenie."
Why?
That's
what is this? What is this theater behavior by your uncle? You should have a serious conversation with him. You're not supposed to talk at the theater.
He disagrees with you.
You should have gone and gotten the usher and been like, yo, this guy next to me won't stop talking.
Yeah, I know. It's hard.
That's a move I would make. I would go to the theater with a relative and then they talk. I was like, I'm just going to go tell on you. Like, I care less about telling on you than I would a random stranger.
Did I ever tell you what happened when we went to Interstellar?
No.
We went to Interstellar. You know the scene in Interstellar when Matt Damon tries to dock with the ship, but it doesn't work?
Yeah,
and
the
so
docking
it blows
scene.
up. So when it explodes, it's complete silent, right? So we're in like a stadium style theater, and it's this enormous theater, and it's packed because it just came out. And you could hear a pin drop and a rat piss during that scene. It's so intense, and it's just so dead silent, right?
Wait, how often are you dropping pins and rat piss?
So anyway, then my uncle, from the dead silence, you just hear, "Weenie boy!"
I'm going to be honest with you. I hate your uncle. I hate him. Why would you go see movies with him? This is childish behavior.
Listen, you're entitled to your opinion.
If anyone else was doing this, you would be pissed. You got mad at someone throwing popcorn in the air next to you, and you have someone shouting during quiet climactic moments?
I'm not saying that I'm not mad about it. What I'm saying is, I don't go with him because he talks in the movies. I would hope not. I go with him in spite of the fact that he talks during the movies.
And you should tell him to stop.
It's complicated, Tommy, okay? People are complicated.
Sure.
So, we try.
Sure.
But yes, in general, I hate it. And it's super embarrassing when the entire theater is looking at you. Like, why are you talking right now? He almost got us kicked out of Thor: The Dark World.
Good. Should have gotten kicked out.
He was talking about Thor, and he's like, I'm so embarrassed. He was talking during Thor: The Dark World, and this woman in front of us turned around and yelled at him, and he goes, suck wind and kick rocks, lady. People talk during the movies. And I was like, oh my God, no.
Yeah, why after that, why would you ever go to another movie with him? Your uncle sounds like the type of person who would show up to the DMV without an appointment.
He did.
What? See?
Like a week ago.
See?
All right.
Was he Otis?
No,
Uncle Otis?
He wasn't Uncle Otis. No.
Oh.
You can't see me. I'm like so cringing right now. How about Thunderbolts? I kind of liked it. We were talking about it in the context of other movies that came out post Endgame, and I had felt for a while. Well, first of all, you cannot talk about the failure of Phase 4 without acknowledging that the plan that they had been building towards and had set in stone was waylaid, 1, by COVID, 2, by a writer's strike, and then 3, by the fact that the person they cast as their main villain, they rightfully dropped for his alleged behavior.
4, shifting management at Disney that leads to different, like, what's the word? Goals or mindsets around the production of it all. Like, the whole Iger and who else was involved? I forget the other guy. But, like, the shifting mentalities of focus of quantity over quality.
Yeah. And now that some of that stuff is coming back into reign, like, recently, Feige said that the last show that will directly tie into the movies will be the last part of the WandaVision trilogy. It'll be the
Vision Quest?
The Vision Quest show. Yep, that'll be the last show that directly ties into the movies, which, to be honest, I'm a fan of. I don't think that you need to have the events of the show tie into the events of the movies. I think that they can exist in the universe and have those characters appear in the movies, but not have them be about it. You know? Like, it doesn't have to be like, this event's going to happen in the shows, and it's going to have ramifications in the movies. It's like, and the quote was that we don't want our viewers to feel like they have to do homework before they go to the movies. Thunderbolts feels like it's the first movie in a little bit that kind of puts it back on the tracks and establishes a clear direction of where we're going. Because, like, everything else kind of felt like a standalone movie, right? Guardians 3 kind of felt like a standalone movie. The Spider-Man movies felt contained in their own way.
Yeah, and see, that kind of gets to me, like, what you were just talking about. To me, the big, like, reasons why... I'm going to be real, like, I stopped keeping track of phases after Endgame because of, like, it's all meaningless at this point. Like, there was... With the lack of Avenger movies to kind of cap these phases, there's less, like, rigidity to them, and it's all just Our phase 4 was Black Widow to Black Panther 2. It's like, okay, what is the significance of calling that phase 4? Right? Yeah.
There's no cohesion, and there's no thread line pulling us in any direction. And that was what was so special about the Infinity Saga, was it led to the Infinity War, but you couldn't do that unless you had all the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, so what I'm getting at is, like, to me, like, the big thing that you kind of mentioned on is, like, I think one of the big reasons is less, like, people feeling like there's a million things that you have to do homework on to keep up. Because, like, they always do a good job of being like, oh, you're a U.S. agent. You're the disgraced Captain America who killed a man in public daylight. Like, they always do a good job of recapping it for the viewers. So I've never personally felt like that's an issue. I think it's the opposite, where it's too much too quickly and not connected enough. There's not enough forethought to connect all these things. Because if you look at, like, the first 3 phases, like, you have a lot of crossover and a lot of buildup into the next thing that's happening. And it really felt like after Endgame and Far From Home, and when they started, like, the multiverse saga or whatever, it was like, all right, guys, we're a success. Expand in all directions, and we'll connect it all one day. And it just was so unfocused. So like what you said, it definitely feels a refocusing. It feels smaller scale, more focus on the characters, which is good. It's what this needs. It needs to not have the priority be expanding the MCU. It needs to be on deepening it.
Yeah. And, you know, part of the thing that they did was they kind of built out the universe in a way that I think they added a lot of city level heroes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to use Luke Cage as an example. Luke Cage is a city level hero. Luke Cage is bulletproof. Now, this isn't an example of a property that they recently added to. I'm using Luke Cage as a hero, right? From the comics. Luke Cage is bulletproof. And Luke Cage is really tough. And Luke Cage can stop a car. And he can battle corruption. And he can keep the neighborhood safe. But he doesn't have anything for you when it's like an extraterrestrial threat.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What is Luke Cage going to do? Luke Cage is going to get his ass beat. Right? Like, Daredevil. I love Daredevil. Daredevil doesn't really have anything against, like, the Vulture. Okay? And again, love Daredevil. He doesn't have anything for you. He fights people that have guns. And he fights them with batons. Right? So, like, Shang-Chi. Love Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi with the 10 rings, okay. He's in the mystic category? Like, how does this align? Where does he fit with the rest of the universe? He has this weird tie-in with Wong. You know,
well,
like,
he's an Avenger. He's going to be an Avenger. Like, talking meta, like Shang-Chi, big enough hit, he's Avenger level.
Sure. Well, let's talk about the current movie then. Because what I think is interesting is something that happened in the comics is the idea of there being multiple Avenger teams, something that was not explicitly said in the last saga of the idea of a secret Avengers, right? But having, like, the new Avengers and then, like, another Avenger team. Because you have the Fantastic Four coming in, but there's also this angle now with Sam Wilson. And that's a whole thing. That now has a thread for us to pull the story. That has a thread for Sam Wilson to come back into the story. That has a thread for people to join his team, right?
Yeah.
Now you're curious. What team would Spider-Man join? He probably joins Sam Wilson's Avengers. But what team does so-and-so join, right? And then is there going to be a Young Avengers, right? Is that a thing? Is Kate Bishop going to have the Young Avengers? You know, where do all these other characters that don't really have a home fit now? Because, like, what does Thor do? Does Thor even come back? Like, all these things that it creates now intrigue and drama towards what we ultimately know will be Doomsday. So they've now created the endpoint. Because we knew from the end of Avengers they were building towards Thanos. Right? We knew from the end of Avengers they were building towards Thanos. So, like, that was the thing that kind of pulled us through. It's like, okay, this is where we're going to end up. So everything kind of ends here.
Excuse me, and what happened? Didn't we do this with Kang, though? We knew we were building the Kang.
Yeah, but if you remember what I said,
I know.
But they didn't do a good job with Kang.
No.
Because to do Kang, you have to fight Kang over and over again. Like, Kang doesn't work unless you fight his variants and constantly show him off. Where I think, like, Thanos and Doom and Doctor Doom and some of these other villains, these, like, you know, like, these top tier villains, the power is in not showing them.
I hear you. I guess for me, with the whole multiple Avengers thing, I didn't, it didn't create too much intrigue for myself. I wasn't like, oh shit, okay, things are building to this head. It just kind of felt like, the natural, it just feels like, oh, okay, finally we have characters from different movies interacting with each other in a tangible way that isn't just, and I'm here too, in
a way that advances a story.
Yeah, for sure. Because, like, looking through the MCU since Endgame. Just to like read a handful of these. Like Black Widow, we have Florence Pugh at the end leading into Thunderbolts. Shang-Chi, we have 2 post-credit scenes that I don't think have been delivered on. Eternals, nothing delivered on.
Awful.
Multiverse of
Terrible.
Madness. See, it's interesting to me you're such an Eternals hater. I think that one's one of the less offensive ones of this bunch.
Oh, terrible. That movie makes no fucking sense.
We'll leave that discussion for another day. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm an Eternals defender, but I'm more of a Eternals sympathizer. But like Multiverse of Madness, Love and Thunder, like all of these have open ends at the end that are like supposed to lead to something bigger, but it's not pointed. It's just, because let's see if this movie's a hit. Because if so, then we are so gonna follow Harry Styles across the universe with Patton Oswalt on his side, you know. But we've yet to have that until now. This moment where like, okay, we are contained and we're working to something. Like you said, it is serving a story.
Yeah.
So
you know,
we've talked a lot about though, like the Thunderbolts and what it means for the MCU as a whole. What do you think about like the movie itself?
I thought we were going to get when I saw all the promotion for this movie, I thought this was going to be another Marvel slop with Bucky Barnes as the leader. And I'm like, man, they're really just going to drag out anybody that is vaguely tied to the success of the last movies. You know, I was kind of bummed out about it and I wasn't into it. And then you told me that it was better than a lot of the movies that you just read off.
Yeah.
You said this is what the minimum of what these Marvel movies should be.
Yeah.
That was very... The fact that you said that was it being the minimum of what they should be, was like, okay, I'm going to go see this now. And I was excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because first of all, I take that as high praise. You know, I take your critiques pretty, you know, they're
okay. I have good points on occasion.
You have
the
good
blind
opinions.
squirrel.
I trust
the
your
blind
opinion.
squirrel finds the nut every once in a while.
I trust your opinions.
No, I heard what you're really saying, but continue.
Wow. For what I didn't say. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch this movie, and then I'm like, from the first moment, I'm like, oh, this is a Florence Pugh movie. Oh, I'm so into this. I loved her character in Black Widow. I thought she was the best part of Black Widow. And I thought she was the best part of the Hawkeye show, what part she was in. Like, I just like her character. I like Florence Pugh. So I was like, I can do a Florence Pugh movie. And that's more or less what it was. And I thought David Harbour was pretty funny. Like, something I liked was it had the humor, but it didn't feel like it was trying to be Guardians where everybody was funny. You know? It was like, it felt less like that. It felt like they were being serious. And so everyone had like a funny moment, I guess. Everyone had to get over with the audience. But it wasn't like everyone's just pitching jokes. You know, it felt more whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know that I liked any of... All these people were villains in different in things, right? Because, like, the only one that wasn't a villain in something was Alexei. Yeah, because Florence Pugh was the villain, one of the villains in Hawkeye.
I wouldn't say she was a villain there.
She was a minor antagonist, fine. She shows up and she's an obstacle.
Yeah, sure.
Taskmaster, which I gotta say, I was surprised they just offed her.
I was not.
I was surprised they offed her, but it wasn't like an unpleasant surprise. I was like, okay, good. This character had no
for me, based on like seeing the trailers, I was like, there's no way Taskmaster's making it out of that first room. And I'm going to be real, I thought Ghost wasn't making it out of that first room either. I was like,
You're
they're
like,
going to
this
kill
town's
them
not
both
big
up.
enough for the 6 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
I do like when they kill characters, though. Like, I like permanent consequences.
Yeah, if only they did it to a character of note.
Yeah, well, yeah. They killed
They killed someone who was widely agreed to be a poor interpretation of their comic counterpart.
Yeah, pretty bad. Who literally died by getting shot in the face.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then burned, incinerated. Literally, like, goddamn.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. I was thankful that it wasn't a Bucky Barnes movie. I liked actually that we got to see a little bit of the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character's background. Not because I want to sympathize with her, but I thought that it was just like, and I love that it didn't go anywhere else. Just seeing that one scene from her.
Yeah, and I like that she's
around. She's good. Yeah, exactly. She's staying around.
Yeah,
you don't have to like her, but she's gonna be here.
I like that she's around. I think the thing that surprised me most with this movie is it still had a lot of Marvel snark to it, but I was impressed by how much of the snark was replaced with just campiness. And I felt Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina Allegra Dufontaine. Wow, yeah. No applause for nailing that.
You're not the Secretary of Fence.
Yeah. I thought that she was, I didn't think I wasn't blown away by her performance. I think the strongest performance in here is Florence Pugh. But I think she did the movie a service by leaning into this campy villainous role. After the movie, Jade and I were talking about it. I'm like, okay, so help me get this straight. Valentina's plan was this, and why? And we just kind of talked it out. We're like, yeah, okay, so she's just evil and wants power. Cool. I can fuck with that as long as she's fun, and she's very fun and campy.
Yeah, no, I'm into it. I liked how comic book villainy she feels.
Yeah.
No, one thing I really did like about the movie, it kind of reinforced the thing. I liked that it took them a while to get out of that bunker. Mm-hmm. I feel like, we're in an impenetrable bunker in the desert. How are we going to get out? And then the joke is, we just walk out the front door. It took them legitimately 40 minutes to get out of that fucking bunker.
Yeah, it's refreshing. It's really refreshing. This movie physically felt much smaller scale. Not that it doesn't blow up to something of big proportions at the end that makes you scratch your head and be like, okay, well, where's Doctor Strange during this? Not that it doesn't get to that point, but for the most part, this movie takes place over a handful of locations, which was really refreshing.
Yeah. And the ending was not one that I anticipated. I thought it was going to end with her getting dragged off to Congress. And the fact that it didn't end that way, and then I finally understood what the asterisk meant, I was like, oh, interesting. Then I thought when Florence Pugh walked up to Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I was like, oh, surely she's going to say we prefer the Thunderbolts or something. It's like, oh, now we own you.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh. And then the finished credits, the pretty ones, having those be all about doubting them as Avengers.
Mm-hmm. And the 14 months that pass or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you think of Bob and slash Sentry slash the Void? And did you know anything about this character going in? Because this is a comic character I'm pretty familiar with. So I had certain expectations that were subverted in ways.
I don't know a lot about Sentry as a comic book character, and I haven't looked up much since I got done with the movie. So you could maybe fill in some gaps on things I don't know. I didn't know. I also, as you know, I go out of my way to avoid marketing before a movie. So, unless I'm being bombarded with it, as was the case with this one, I usually don't watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I didn't even know who the villain was I didn't know how it was going to come about. When I saw Bob, I was like, okay, it's probably going to be him. I don't know how he's going to get there. And then when he turned out to basically be an arrogant Superman, I was like,
Oh, he's more than Superman. Come on, give Bob some credit.
Yeah, that was like, when he turned out to be an arrogant asshole more than Superman, I was like, oh, okay.
There we go.
All right. I guess this is who they're going to fight, but they can't even land a fucking punch on him, so how are they going to fight him?
So, the way you define him as arrogant asshole?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's a very interesting read on the character.
Well, he was like, specifically the scene I'm thinking of that gave me the arrogant asshole read was like, you said I was a god. She's like, I'm a god. And she's like, well, cool it. I don't, you're throwing that word around pretty uselessly. You said I'm stronger than a team of Avengers, which includes at least one god. So yeah, I think I'm a god. And then I'm like, okay. So, you have to have a pretty swell head or be really high on your own supply to think that you're a god.
Or be stronger than the Avengers that includes a god.
Yeah, I mean, that would still be arrogant. Doesn't mean it's not true.
So, do you want to hear what the Sentry's deal is in the comic? And Bob? So, a lot of the pieces are still there, like with his backstory, abusive father, tumultuous upbringing. The big thing with the Sentry, though, is when he was introduced, it was kind of an event where he is a character who canonically was around for like every major event. If this were, if it were the case in the MCU, he would have been there in New York during the Chitauri invasion in Avengers. He would have been there in Infinity War, Endgame, Age of Ultron. He would have been there at the airport fight. But because he's so powerful and because of how powerful because the Void is him but flipped, right?
Yep. Because
of how dangerous the Void is, essentially like depowers and everyone on the planet, everyone's memory of him is completely wiped. So I went into this expecting some sort of reveal to that degree, some sort of things like Bob's been here all along and we didn't know it. I think it could have worked and been in like an oh shit moment, but at the same time, and I was telling Jade about this after, and she said like, yeah, but that might be hard for everyone to buy into. That might then make this a bit too big of scope. That might make this more than like the personal story of like, depression and trying to fill this void in your life. It would make it about more than that, which I definitely agree with and think it was a good call to not go that route. As much as I think that would have been a fun reveal, and there might be room for that in the future in the MCU. But yeah,
you don't want to see Alexi react to Bob being there the whole time. You want to see like the main cast react to that.
I mean, sure. That's not where my head was at. Like it was like, well, I don't want this reveal to happen now when we have all these B-lister around. So that was it was just more for me like save that for later if at all. I think that would kind of pull us a little bit back into what we were talking about before, and like everything has to be this huge repercussions spanning throughout the universe and branch us out. I think it would have just kind of made this movie a bit like that what we were talking about. This feels like a new a refound direction, like this more focused take, and that just feels a bit unfocused for lack of a better term.
I didn't get a sense on this. Is Bob now no longer have powers, or is he just like not a threat? At the moment?
So he more or less like the fastest way to describe is like consider him to have been like reset. And the more he uses his powers, the more he'll like gain the power and kind of slip back into that headspace, and the Void will show up. So essentially he can access his powers should he want to, but he chooses not to because that will send him spiraling.
Okay.
That's kind of what what my read on it was in their take on it and the Thunderbolts.
That's fair.
So, does this movie renew any hope for you for the MCU? Does it make you excited about future projects?
I'll say this, and I want to be clear that I don't give a shit what the internet thinks, and I don't give a shit what other people think. I was gonna go see these movies, like the big ones, no matter what. Like, I'm gonna go see Avengers Doomsday. I'm gonna go see Fantastic Four. I'm really excited for Fantastic Four. The trailers for it. This is the first Fantastic Four movie I'm ever gonna see.
Wow, you haven't seen any of the other ones?
The other ones look like shit.
Yeah, the ones from the 2000s, they're not great. The second one's okay. The second one is okay, but generally not great, which is a shame. The Fantastic Four are incredible characters from the comics, and
They are.
dying for a solid interpretation of them.
How's the Miles Teller one? Is that bad?
That's bad. Maybe the worst one of them.
Okay. So I'm like, I think that this looks promising, and I'm excited for it. I'm also, like, I don't care what other people have to say about it. It's just like, I'm gonna do me. I think these are gonna be fun. Even if I don't love them, I think I'm gonna have a fun time. And I'm gonna enjoy seeing them. I will say that my interest is peaked a little more. I have no interest in going back and rewatching like Brave New World.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
Like
the
maybe
only thing
I'll have a drink one day and watch it, but
that's concerning for me about Fantastic Four is the fact that there's like 6 credited writers for it.
That's a little too inside baseball for me going into it. Like I totally get that, and like there was a podcast the other day, and I think you'll agree with this. There was a podcast I was listening to the other day. Was talking about Ryan Coogler's Sinners, and how there were tons of articles coming out, like after opening weekend, saying that it was not going to make its money back, and that meant it was a failure.
Oh yeah, the hit pieces.
Yeah. And the podcast I was listening to was like, what does the average person care whether or not a movie makes its money back? And it was a podcast piece about that we live in a technocracy or something where every argument has to be presented with data. So like you can be having a conversation on who the best rapper of all time is, and to back up that argument, you will present to me who sold the most tickets or who sold out a show. And it's like, what does that have to do with rap? Right? Like, I get you. I'm hearing you. But, like, are we going to have the conversation of Rolling Stones and Beatles and talk about how many shirts they sold? Like, it's the you have to present data to have an argument. Otherwise, it's invalid. But the data the data is used in a way that's, like, weaponizing against the thing. In a way that's unnecessary. So it's like, I'm not going to see Sinners because it's not for me. But I've heard everyone that saw it, I haven't heard a single person say they didn't like it. It's just a rated R movie. Rated R movies are going to have a hard time making money, and I've heard that it actually did pretty well. So
yeah, it's more than made their money back at this point because of how strong the word of mouth. So I guess, but what does this have to do with me saying there's 6 writers for Fantastic Four? So I'm a bit concerned with that.
I'm saying I'm not equating you to the person that is saying like to the hit pieces, but it's the same reason I don't watch the marketing. It's like I didn't know that they had 6 writers. I would have looked it up after. Maybe, but like, I'm not gonna go in with my mind loaded and be like, oh, I'm gonna go in worrying I'm not gonna like it because it had 6 writers.
Wow, and you're saying I will be?
You did. You said that.
I mean, it's not gonna cloud my judgment.
You said you were concerned.
I am. But I'm not going to sit down and be like, I'm concerned, because there's also positives.
But you're going into that with that in your mind.
I guess. But I guess at the same time, like, I'm excited to see all of the cast. So the same argument could be made in the opposite direction about that. You know what I'm saying?
No, but it's okay.
Like, I love the 4 main actors in this. So, like, I guess I feel like that could just be like extended to like anything you know about the movie in advance in general. It's like it just feels like it's one of those things that's like it's impossible for us to live in a void.
No, I'm going to push back on this a little bit, and I want this to be received in the spirit it's intended. It's just, you see a movie and you know who's in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love the 4 actors that are in it. It's part of the draw. I feel like they finally got some of the performances right, and I'll say that this is one of the few movies I actually watched the trailer for, because I really don't do that anymore. But, like, I saw a rumor the other day that, who's the guy that directed Matt Reeves? Matt Reeves was...
I don't know who directed Matt Reeves.
No,
he is a director.
Batman 2. That Matt Reeves was being pulled off of Batman 2. I read that as a rumor. And I know people, and maybe I don't want you to feel like this, I'm targeting this at you. This is just kind of the way that this came up. But I know people that would go to the second Batman movie with the thing in their mind, like, this, I'm predisposed, I'm preloaded to look for errors or problems or mistakes because I know this is the film's second director. When one of my favorite movies of all time, Tombstone, didn't even have a director. You know what I mean? It's like...
Wow. So are you saying I'm unable to separate my stuff when I sit down? Wow. Are you equating me to incels who will hate on something because...
You know what?
Oh my
God.
I am. Wow.
Yeah, I am.
Wow. I knew it. I knew you felt this way about me.
This is off topic, but my godson is throwing out my pennies in wishing wells.
So, a couple questions. How there are multiple wishing wells around for him to throw pennies into.
He's throwing them in my rain barrels. And he's throwing them wishing wells.
All right. That makes a bit more sense. Second question. You have a bunch of pennies sitting around?
He likes pennies, man. I don't know.
So, I guess, where is he getting these pennies of yours?
He's stealing them from me, but some of them I'm giving to him.
Okay. So you do have a bunch of pennies laying around.
I went and bought a roll of pennies. Or got a roll of pennies.
Can I ask why?
Because he likes pennies. He usually puts them in his mouth.
So, oh my God, CJ. So your
it's a sensory thing.
So he enjoys putting pennies in his mouth and throwing pennies into barrels and calling them wishing wells. And then you just put him on blast by saying, yeah, he's stealing all my pennies to throw them in wishing wells. No, you're buying him pennies to give him to throw in wishing wells. Don't sit here and victimize yourself.
Can I tell you, I was holding on to that pennies thing as a get out of jail free card for like a couple days now.
Can't believe you.
I was going to pull the pin on that one and be like, off topic, but...
So let's get back on topic. CJ, we watched Meet the Feebles.
Unfortunately.
Wow. Spoiling already your thoughts. How'd you like it, CJ?
I didn't.
Okay. Any more added thoughts to that?
Yeah. I'll go a little further. I had a hard time watching it. And I think that it's fair to say that I just can't do gross.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I've been pretty open about my icks when it comes to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you know, because we've talked so much and we're very close. There were multiple points in the movie, if you go and look at the commentary track, where you were telling me when I could look.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
because it was very gross. I couldn't do it.
If this were a movie I had watched before we did the podcast, I would not have picked this for the podcast because I know that you would not have liked this.
Yes. Having said that, I going into it intellectually, I thought the idea of a R-rated Muppets would be interesting, and I still do think that would be interesting. This is an X-rated Muppets.
I don't know about X-rated.
They literally fuck.
Yeah, and that's
someone gets
R.
raped. They literally drug somebody and rape her. They make a porno. People die. Like, people get snuffed out. Like, there's drug use. Like, it's I would say X, yes. There's literal jizz and shit.
Yeah, I've seen movies with jizz in it that aren't rated X.
Well, you're downplaying it.
I am.
You are. Yeah. I hear the voice of my ex in my head calling me a prude, and this movie's a lot, and it's too much. And, like, the main things that I can remember about it are the things that disgusted me, and it's clouding my judgment for the rest of the movie.
Well, it's a good thing that I will be the one to recap it then.
Yes, it's also unfortunate because I will not be that much of an impartial juror.
That's okay. That's okay.
I am a partial juror in this instance. This is a subjective reaction to the art. And like, yeah, I don't know. There were some characters I liked. There were some moments I liked. But they were few and far between the filth. So, how did you like it?
Okay, I'll say I fell on the fence of liking it, on the side of the fence of liking it. First thing I wanted to call out though is like it's a well-made movie. Like there's clearly a lot of care to the craftsmanship of these puppets and the sets, and you could tell very much passionate project, and like really thumbs up on everything technical on that front.
Sure. Technically looks very well made. It is rather dark, like dimly lit, which I think might hide some of the quality of the set and the puppets.
Of course. And like, I mean, there are scenes where like puppets are clearly being controlled by people wearing blackout clothes on like hidden in the shed. Like, I don't think it really hides a lot of the things like that. It doesn't hide those things, but it just executes.
It doesn't hide them, but it does them to hide its shortcomings.
Sure. So, you know, I think from a technical standpoint, really solid. And I genuinely think this just comes down to whether or not you're into gross out humor and the idea of like a gross out, crude, rude, crass Muppets. Like think about an old SpongeBob, how there would be like those random frames of like super close up, really disgusting. Same thing with like, what was it in Rocco's or not Rocco's? I forget which one. Like
I know
the really
what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. This movie is that, but for the Muppets throughout. It is like that tone, that grossness, but for the Muppets. And if that sounds like something you would be interested in, check it out. Like, if it sounds like something that's up your alley, you can deal with shit and jizz and blood and taboo subjects. And, you know, of course, I'll approach from like a satirical point. It's not like this is a glorification of this bad stuff. It's played for humor, of course, as a satire does. But like, if this all sounds your thing, then this is probably your cup of tea. Check it out. But if you're not into gross out humor, if you're not into crass things, avoid it at all costs. Like, really, this is just going to come down to whether or not you can do the gross out humor, which personally I can. I really like gross out humor. I mean, I talk about piss 24/7, so it's pretty fitting. So generally, I'd say I liked it. I didn't love it, but I do think that there's a lot to applaud it for. You know, it's not flawless. It's not like every topic they handle is like, man, they knocked it out of the park with their commentary on that thing. That was profound and hilarious at the same time. A lot of times it like some things will fall flat. But hey, this movie takes a lot of swings and they hit a lot of singles and doubles.
It's not that I disagree with any of the things that you say. It's that I am the type of person that does not enjoy the humor the film is offering.
Right. You fall on the opposite side of the fence. You don't like that gross out humor, so this didn't land for you.
Yep.
All right.
I will definitely say it did not land.
So we are two sides of the same coin here. Why don't
Two sides of a fence.
Why don't we go through the movie a bit? CJ, are you buckled in and ready for this?
Sure. Do me a favor. Can we soften some of the grossy language?
Sure. If there's anything, I did make a list of things that specifically really grossed you out. So when we come to that point, I'll tell you to take off your headphones and I'll list it all out.
All right, thank you.
Before we get into the recap, though, real quick, of course, this movie is satirical, but quick trigger warning for things like non-consenting drug use and drug use in general. Lots of violence, and also trigger warning for things like rape and sexual assault. Okay, so let's first just talk about this movie and its format. In short, this is a movie about we got a show to put on, and it's like the day of rehearsal and all of the things they run into that go wrong, and it builds up to the actual Feebles variety hour show at the end of the movie. The Feebles in this movie, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like they're like a theater troupe who's kind of like looking for their big break. And
yeah, that's how it feels.
Yeah, and this variety hour, like, this is their shot. They need the variety hour to go well tonight because it's being filmed, and if it's good, then they're going to get picked up for whatever.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
So because of this, there's a lot of unconnected stories. This movie is, like, very much just, like, showing what all of the individual Feebles are up to throughout the day. There are some main characters, namely Heidi the hippo, and what was his name? Robert the hedgehog.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're like the big main two characters, I'd say. There's a few other people like the walrus Bletch, who is he's kind of the manager of this whole thing. There's also, I'd say the fourth big character is Sebastian the fox, who is the director of the show. So that's kind of what we're working with, is this variety show format. We open with them attempting a number. It doesn't go well. There's also like a stagehand rat who's just like, he sucks. Anyway, Heidi is our star, and more or less, she is in a relationship with Bletch, who is the manager of the Feebles. But Bletch is having an affair with, I guess it's a cat. I thought it was a squirrel the entire movie. Pretty sure the movie says it's a cat, and CJ believes she looked like a cat. This is a squirrel if I have ever seen one, though.
Mm-hmm.
But like essentially establishing that at the same time, Robert arrives to the Feebles. I don't think he actually. So Robert. This is something I wanted to talk about, is what the hell is the audition process for the Feebles? Because Robert shows up on the day of this big thing saying he waited 6 months after auditioning to hear back in written correspondence. And he's like finally arrived. The day he arrives, like literally right after, there's a fish who shows up who's like, finds Bletch, and he's like, hey, can I give you an in-person audition? And like is able to do an audition on the spot. So why the fuck did Robert have to wait 6 months for this?
Was he really able to do an audition on the spot?
I mean, he ended up getting eaten, but yeah.
Okay. I'm with you. I think the audition was a pretense to be eaten.
No. It went poorly. That's how I read the scene. Bletch was pure of heart.
Yeah, Bletch is pure of heart. Okay.
And there's an old worm, I think, who's like supposed to be the old timer of the troop. He shows Robert around, kind of shows Robert this dog, Lucille, I want to say, who Robert falls in love with. And Robert has stage fright. He's this like, he has like erotic lisp. He struggles pronouncing the letter R, and he's just like, when it's time, go talk to the girl, he like falls down and balls up and curls up. Like he's pretty reserved. Oh God, I'm just like skimming scene to scene to try and figure out where we are. just more rehearsal stuff. We established that there's like an aardvark or something. I don't even know what he's supposed to be, but he's like a pervert. There's that skeevy rat stagehand. But Heidi, I don't even know where to go next. Let's talk about Wobbert for a bit. He ends up working up the courage to serenade Lucille, and they kind of end up becoming an item. At the same time, Bletch goes golfing with this warthog dude who's like absolutely rules in terms of character design, and they go golfing, and like this warthog, like he has one of those classic shots that bounces off of every goddamn tree and ends up going in. One of those classic cartoon shots. There's also a fly who is like an investigative journalist who's buzzing around. I like to call him the Born Fly Identity because every time he's being filmed, they are like shaking the camera around to mimic his erratic flight and shaking him around. And it just feels like I'm watching Matt Damon try and fight dudes in Istanbul while the camera's like just being held by a dude who drank 50 cups of coffee. That's what the fly scenes feel like. We get a bit more backstory with Heidi. We see her flashback to meeting Bletch, where when he introduces himself to her, he's like, hey, my name's Bletch. She goes, that's one of the loveliest names I've ever heard. I'm sorry, Bletch is one of the worst names. CJ, how do you feel about the name Bletch?
It's like an anagram of belch. So
pretty much. It feels like what you would say when you're throwing up.
Yeah.
What else is going on? There's a porno being filmed with a cow, but the cow accidentally, I think, sits on her intended co-star, who is like a cockroach or a cricket or something. So then they get that pervy aardvark to come back. There's a knife throwing frog who's like, I think is supposed to be a Kermit parody, but he's like a drug addict. And he struggles to do anything. And I think like he throws a knife and it kills like his stagehand or the woman who is attached to the thing and spinning. There's some like Robert's not very good at doing his role. He's like very involved in like he's supposed to just stand there and hold a flag during a musical number kind of themed around. I don't even know whether it was like the ancient Greeks or Romans. And he's like, well, what's my motivation? And the Fox director is just like laying into him, like, you just stand there, do nothing. There's an extended flat, like, this movie, the average shot length is like 3 seconds. And then we have about a 6-minute excursion into Vietnam where we learn the backstory of the knife-throwing frog. And it's like kind of a parody of it's a parody of a few things like many Vietnam films, Deer Hunter in particular. There's like a lot of like there's very, very racist looking puppets for the Viet Cong. And whenever they talk, they're like talking like really intense politics. And that whole diversion was to like give Robert, I don't know, courage. I don't even remember why he went to the frog. There's also
because he got kicked off the show, so he was told to report to the frog because he was going to be the new act for the frog because the frog killed his brother.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. So the there's a rabbit as well. I think doing a Bugs Bunny impression. And this rabbit, I think, is like introduced halfway through. And long story,
he's one of the first characters you meet because he pops out of the carrot.
Oh, that I forgot about the carrot. Yes, in the opening number. Yes. Oh, that's right. Important thing to note: this is a musical. CJ, I will be asking what your favorite song is later. So we end up getting to meet the rabbit a bit more. And more or less is diagnosed with rabbit AIDS. And in the back half of the movie, like his physical condition is just deteriorating. Like he has lesions all over him. He's not doing good. Yes. Yeah. In the span of hours, he's not doing too hot. So he is progressively getting worse. Also, fun little note is the doctor who diagnoses him was a duck. Might be some foreshadowing to something later. There's also a puppet who's like a caricature of like I would guess like Indian, South Asian, and he ends up getting his head stuck up his butt, which comes back later. There's just a bunch of escapades. Heidi the hippo, she really struggles with her weight. That's kind of her story throughout, is her struggle with her weight, and then her relationship with Bletch and the fact that he's cheating and lying to her. Like there's a scene where she goes and she eats every cake in a bakery, every cake. And there's like pretty funny visual of the guy trying to pass her the cakes fast enough. And it's just a close up of like their hands exchanging cakes. And it gets faster and faster. And then it's just a blur because of how fast it's going. I always love little stuff like that. The investigative journalist Fly begins investigating the rabbit and like starts publishing about that. He's going to write this big expose. Lucille ends up getting drugged by that skeevy rat. And
we're getting to the part where I got to check out.
Yeah. So what was it? Do you remember why? Well, they wanted Lucille to turn into a porn actress because what? Did the cow quit?
Because they thought that the cow wasn't making enough money anymore.
Okay, so they needed something young and
People
fresh.
People weren't into the udders anymore.
Gotcha. So that skeevy rat goes and drugs Lucille. She does not take a sip and she passes out, and he proceeds to like date rape her. And Robert walks in on that and is like, "Oh my God, Lucille, how could you?" and runs away. We get a bunch more prep for the show, and there's a bunch of stuff that went on with like Bletch and driving around in like a giant spider. There's a car chase with like giant crabs as well. What were they? Do you remember what they were doing with the warthog? They were trying to meet up with that warthog they golfed with for some deal.
So they got the drugs, and the drugs ended up being borax.
Thank you.
So they killed the aardvark.
Yes.
By making him take borax, and then they went to the docks because they're gonna now rob the guy from his stash in the docks.
Right, the warthog. The warthog is the drug dealer. The golfing was a cover for a drug deal. Oh, also, real quick, in the Deer Hunter parody, like, he fires one bullet and it bounces off of everything in the room and kills all of the people in the room except for them. So the number one rule about living in this universe is never aim at what you actually want to aim at, because it's just going to bounce and ricochet and hit what you're aiming for. So anyway, they go to the docks to rough up the warthog who gave them the borax instead of cocaine. And it just turns into kind of a slaughter where they're running over a bunch of giant crabs that are there that are friends of the warthog. And it's this fight, and there's a giant spider. And I think does the bulldog get eaten by the spider? Yeah, looks like the bulldog, who's been like he's been a member of the variety show. He's the one who was singing the Roman gladiator opera song. Mm-hmm. He gets eaten by the spider, no longer available. Bletch and them, they end up driving into a whale and like through it, and then out on the other side. They like drive through its entire intestinal tract and pop out. And this was a moment that like you can really see the stagecraft. Like, the car is driving through the tunnel that is like, quote, the intestines, but like you can see the line, like it's just a fabric tunnel lining that you would play with in like elementary school. So they end up getting back, and the Variety Hour show is now beginning. Kind of all of those moving parts have been going on at the same time. The rabbit's just getting worse. He's trying to kill and hunt down the fly, so the fly can't publish this thing about him and ruin his career. And the frog ends up taking more drugs, and like they bring him out, and he ends up, I think, throwing a knife up, and it lands in his own head and it kills him. Robert and Lucille make up. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, whatever. And the show just kind of starts being a disaster. Heidi goes out and sings, and I think it goes. How did Heidi singing go? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember. She was singing, and it doesn't. I think something goes wrong, and then she goes to Bletch, and Bletch is like, because Bletch eventually convinces her to go out, and then she goes out and sings, and then she goes back, and he's like, "I'm gonna replace you in the show with the cat I'm fucking."
Right, but not before she strips fully nude, and we see them hippo honkers. But yeah, he essentially rejects her and spells it out for her that she's a thing of the past, whatever, and completely rejects her. So she runs off. The show's still going on. It's a disaster. The rabbit is insistent on him performing despite him really being in horrible shape. I'm trying to pick my words carefully.
Did you talk about the elephant?
I don't think I talked too much about the elephant. Do you want to fill us in on the elephant?
The elephant is like a lion tamer act with these like furry ball things, which accidentally get killed by the worm early on, and so he has no act. Then he's going through this custody battle.
Right, a paternity case.
With a chicken?
Yes.
The chicken says that this is his child. It's half elephant, half chicken. And that's important because you're coming up on the finale.
Yes, we are getting there. The show's going on. The rabbit throws up all over the stage. And they need to stall time, so they send that elephant out, but like he's really gotta pee. And while this is all going on, like they go and grab the frog who's been shooting up in the bathroom, and they put him out, and that's when he throws the knife up and it lands on his head, and the crowd goes crazy for him killing himself on accident. Like the crowd loves it. The show is kinda, despite it being a disaster, it's kinda going okay. Heidi, she now plans to kill herself. I don't know where she gets this gun from, but like, what even type of gun is this? Like a light machine gun, like the type of heavy gun that an
MG42. It's like something out of a video game.
It's a belt-fed enormous weapon.
Oh, she tries to hang herself first, doesn't she?
Oh yes, she does try to hang herself, but she crashes.
Hang herself with like a pair of pantyhose and like crashes through like 3 floors.
Yes.
Then tries to eat her gun, which she doesn't do because the cat interrupts her.
Yes, the squirrel cat walks in.
And then she's like, all right, fuck this.
She just spins the gun around on the table and guns down the cat. And this begins Heidi's rampage. So the show's going on while Heidi's now walking around, absolutely blasting apart pretty much anyone she comes across. There's like 2, maybe 3 people she does not kill, but for the most, like, pretty much every character we mentioned will end up getting gunned down at some point.
Including the hare, who...
Yeah, I was just about to say, the rabbit gets a call from his doctor, who, again, is a duck and maybe a bit of a quack, and learns he does not have rabbit AIDS. Instead, he has the rabbit cold, and it's going to go away in like 2 days if he takes an aspirin. Something like that, yeah. Something to that effect. And he just has to take an aspirin, and it'll go away in 2 days. So he has like a renewed...
I'm gonna live!
And then his head explodes because Heidi shoots him.
Yeah.
Heidi continues her rampage, and the show's going so well, and they're kind of like starting to misact. The Fox director goes out, and this whole show he's kind of been like elbowing to try and get his own musical number in that he sings and writes and choreographs. And he finally goes out and sings a song all about how he loves sodomy. There are pillars on stage that look like penises. There are like, I don't even know what to call them other than floating nut sacks in the sky. I don't know what they're supposed to be other than nut sacks. But he sings this song about sodomy while Heidi goes around killing pretty much everyone except for Robert, the elephant's baby. The elephant, I think she just shoots in the knee.
Kneecaps her.
Yeah. She like does to Bletch what the Inglourious Bastards do to Hitler. Kills most people. Lucille, I think, is okay.
Robert saves Lucille from dying.
Yeah, the old worm is okay.
Yep.
And the fox lives but lost an eye, I think. And that's about it. That's the Meet the Feebles Variety Hour show did end up being a success, though the Feebles are all kind of dead. And then it ends with going to credits. A few this is what so-and-so was up to. The elephant had extensive operations on his kneecaps and ends up living with his son as a horticulturist. The old worm, he ends up being revered in the theater community. The fox ends up writing a book about how he the Sebastian achieved worldwide fame for his bestseller, The Feeble Variety Massacre, One Man's Act of Heroism. He is currently negotiating the film rights. Robert and Lucille get married and have 2 kids. And then Heidi ends up serving 10 years in the female penitentiary, becomes rehabilitated into the community, and now works under a new identity at a checkout counter of a large supermarket. And that's pretty much the movie. It's a pretty loose movie when it comes to plot. It is a lot of just loosely connected character moments. Also, the fly ends up getting killed by Bletch and the rat, which I think leads to the best joke in the entire movie, which is they rip out the wing on the right side of his back, right before they kill him. And the rat goes oh, what is it? He goes, "Look, boss, a left-wing reporter." Hilarious. That's incredible joke. But yeah, I think that's generally it for summary. CJ, how did I do?
You did pretty good. You left out all the disgusting shit.
I did, because I'm saving it for later.
Good.
But I do have a handful of questions about this movie and universe.
Okay.
CJ, what about you? Do you have anything fresh off the recap you wanted to bring up, ask?
No.
Okay. So I already talked about the audition process. Something I want to ask. Do humans exist in this world?
You did ask this during the movie, and the closest we got was the guy whose head gets shoved up his own ass.
Yes, that the humans exist, but they are also puppets to some degree. I don't feel as though that's conclusive, though, because Swedish Chef exists, but also humans exist, right?
Sure.
The Statler and Waldorf. Oh, look at that. Are you proud of me, CJ?
I am proud of you. That was pretty good.
Statler and Waldorf, they're humans, but they're Muppets. So, unsure. But the reason why I ask is we do not see a single actual human in the entire movie. But Scotland is mentioned of existing. Lyndon B. Johnson is mentioned by name in the POW segment.
He's a bad egg.
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
There's, of course, I think they called him the Guru. The guy we've been referring to.
The snake charmer.
Yes. Kermit at one point when the rabbit thinks he's gonna die, he looks at a cross and a little frog is being held up on it. So Kermit is Jesus Christ in this universe. And I'm not sure what implications that has for whether or not humans exist, but it does, it does confirm that there are Christ-like figures, which I don't know. I feel like there's something there for whether or not humans exist. But then the crowd is filled with people, like tons of people operating Muppets. But I think you can kind of see silhouettes of actual people there, though I'm not sure if it's supposed to be people or if they are just puppeteers,
I see what you're getting at.
So what do you think, CJ? Do humans exist? Where do you definitively land? Do humans exist? Are they just those Muppets? Where's the line drawn?
Absent of things not seen, I'm going to say that they don't exist in this universe. And I'll also say that there was a moment in Muppet history where a decision was made to put humans alongside Muppets as a grounding force. Because like in the history of Muppets, like with, man, I forget the name of the show, but like the original puppets, like that were on the TV shows in the 50s and that did like the Wilkins coffee commercials, they only interacted with other puppets.
Interesting.
They didn't hit on the human element. There was a special in the before the Muppet Show. There was a television special which I think it might have been called Muppets Love and Violence. So there were two basically pilots for the Muppet Show because they were having a hard time selling it in the US. They made the Muppets Valentine Show, and in the show they had it was received pretty well, right? But the actual thing that did really well was it had Mia Farrow, right? And Mia Farrow is like there, and it provided a grounding force for the Muppets. Because now, of course, we think about, Michael Caine as Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge, and we think about, I forget his name from Muppet Treasure Island. What's the actor's name? Tim Curry.
There we go.
Or leaving that in. And then, yeah.
I was waiting, like, Tim who?
Tim Curry. And then there was another one, which was Muppet Show Sex and Violence. And it is different. It doesn't have the main Muppets. It basically had new characters, and it was more about putting on a show, and it lacked a lot of the grounding elements. But I mean, the other part of it was it didn't have a human element, and so that's part of why the Muppets really work as a concept. So, not to say that they can't work without a person. This movie clearly shows you that they can, but the absurdity of the Muppets, is grounded in the presence of a person. I don't know how you could have a fucking human being in this.
I guess
Ron Jeremy?
Yeah, I guess I didn't really consider the idea of what this would look like with a human in it. I feel like you would have to go the route of someone like Leslie Nielsen. Someone who's just like plays it straight to the most absurd degree, no matter how ridiculous the material is. Like, Leslie Nielsen is the guy for that, with like Naked Gun, Airplane, all of that stuff. I feel like you would have to go that route. But, pivoting from this talk about humans in this universe to talking more about the Muppets. First, I wanted to say I had no clue. I had thought that the Muppets had always interacted with people, so that was interesting to learn. But how did you feel this movie as a whole compares to the Muppets? Of course, we know the differences. We know where they differ. We know, but at least on a surface level, like what this is about, or like what these guys do that the Muppets don't, and vice versa. But like, how did you feel this was effective compared to the Muppets? Or was there any aspects of this you're like, oh, I could really feel them pulling on this aspect of the Muppets in these scenes?
insofar that they are puppets and that they're doing a musical, that is the extent to which I believe that they are doing they're doing a Muppet parody, right? They're doing the Muppets if Muppets were raunchy and
Right.
on HBO, but not when they were on HBO, right?
Right.
They are doing Muppets in a, this is a different take on a familiar thing. I will say, just to correct myself from before, I said 1975 for the Muppet Valentine show was the first time they appeared with people, but they had been appearing with people on Sesame Street since 1969.
Oh, wow.
So, yep. So I'll say this, okay? There is a breath here that is like, hey, like, here are the things that we are trying to do and say, but realistically, it is so drowned out by being the antithesis of the thing that it's so hard to say, hey, this is what it's being. How can you compare it to the thing?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's not quite pointed at one thing in particular. It's just kind of like, all right, let's take every characteristic we can think of the Muppets and invert it.
Yeah, and because it's such a total inversion, and because it goes to such visual raunchy degrees, and it's not one for one, right? Like, I guess if you were to ascribe, like, the characters don't have, like, I guess if you wanted to say Piggy and Heidi probably are the closest, right? Like, how would the Muppets be if Miss Piggy was, like, you know, had an eating disorder and was overweight and in a abusive relationship with someone that cheated on her? You know, it's like, I don't know. But I also doesn't feel like the film's making any kind of commentary on that, so I don't want to give it any extra credit.
Okay.
You know? Like, with no disrespect to the technical, because listen, it is not easy, and I said this in the pre-show, it is not easy to make puppets look believable. It is not easy to put a puppet on a stage or put a puppet on film and have that look believable in space. That is not an easy thing to do. It is not easy to make a puppet in a real room look like it belongs in that room. That is a technical, difficult thing. One of the ways you can get by it is by lowering the lights. The film was very dark. It's how they shot film noir for 20 years in the 30s and 40s. So, or the 40s and 50s. So, no disrespect, is a legitimate film strategy. When you have cheap sets or when you have low budget, you dim the lights. Clerks, everybody loves Clerks. He shot the film in black and white because he could use the overhead lights in the convenience store. He didn't have to rent extra lighting equipment.
Right.
So, all of that having been said, I do feel like I'm rambling just a little bit, but, like, there is a technical component here that's very impressive. It is difficult to get people to believe puppets. It's one of the reasons why Yoda as a character, as a puppet, is so wonderful. And as much of a job that Frank Oz does with the puppet, another, you know, Muppet Workshop kind of creation, Frank Oz is the puppeteer. As much as Frank Oz deserves credit for bringing Yoda to life, it doesn't work if Mark Hamill doesn't treat Yoda like he's a real person, right? In every performance of Yoda in the original films, Mark Hamill is treating him like he's in the room with a real human being. He talks to Yoda. He's not talking to Frank Oz. You know, it's what Mark Hamill brings Yoda to life. When you don't have people, you just need to make the puppets in scene, on set, convincing. And they did. And they did that with a lot of wearable puppets. They did that with the big one, obviously, was Heidi. Heidi got a lot of screen time. That's a wearable. That's like Sweetums. from the Muppets is a wearable, more like a costume. The elephant was another wearable, but you don't have to worry about size, right?
Yeah.
Because then if you think about the scenes with the hare, he's in the carrot, so that's a close. Then he spends most of the movie, if you think about this, Tommy, spends the rest of the movie in his dressing room with the bed. Because he goes back there and he has sex. He's in the doorway, which is a tight shot, and the panty sniffer's outside, so we see him through the door. He goes back into the bedroom and he's sick. The doctor comes to visit him. He doesn't leave the bedroom. And so he's never taken out of the context of that room, and all the puppets that come into that room outside of the initial performance, when the only time that we see him is the carrot. The only wide shot we get of him in the whole movie is at the end when he gets shot.
Yes.
And it's a shot reverse shot because he gets blown up at the end of a hallway.
Yeah.
So, like, there are lots of production tricks in making these puppets look and feel real, especially when you have like a 6-foot man in a bimbo hippo costume versus what is likely, an 18-inch rabbit puppet.
Yeah, I hear you. This all actually is also reminding me, I feel like we buried the lead a little bit because I think we went the entire pre-show and now most of this post-show without mentioning, this movie is directed by Peter Jackson, who, of course, went on to make The Lord of the Rings and...
Not relevant.
All of that. But he was one of the puppet makers on this movie as well. So just like all around, it feels like there's just a lot of people contributing to all that. And I do think all of that, like, if the artistry of puppets appeals to you and you can get through the gross out humor isn't for you, I think it's a really cool movie to see for many of the reasons you mentioned. Just seeing a different production company try their hand at this thing that is so, like, it is the idea of these, like, Muppet characters. It is so ubiquitously the Muppets. It is so like the Muppet Troupe and Sesame Street. Like, that is what we know. We really have not had many other major big studio attempts reach the mainstream that are puppets of that type. So it's always fun to see, different people, sometimes people you wouldn't expect, like a young Peter Jackson, to try out something. It's like, oh, we don't see many different fresh takes on this type of this thing. Mm-hmm. But I really enjoyed hearing what you had to say. I did have another question, though. So it's no secret here, CJ. You have a background in journalism. Yes. What did you think of the Fly's journalistic integrity in this film? Because this Fly, to recap, muckraker almost by definition. Like, he is using unethical means to get the truth, and even at that, twisting the truth. And I would just love to hear your thoughts on this as someone, well versed in the field.
Sure. What journalistic integrity? Let us first comment on the idea of eavesdropping in on a private conversation between a doctor and a patient.
Oh, I forgot. That is how the Fly learns about the rabbit having rabbit AIDS.
Yes. So, if you don't know this, if you have doctor-patient confidentiality, it is nigh unbreakable, right? You can tell somebody, and if you tell somebody, then you give up your expectation of privacy. So if you tell a third party, that third party tells somebody else, that somebody else is a reporter, cool, you report it. It's kind of 2 degrees of separation, but it's not bound by privilege because the person who, was a part of the privilege broke privilege when they revealed it, right? It's yours to waive. If you are, I know this is attached in attorney-client privilege, and this is important because these things come up sometimes. If you're talking to an attorney and you have a third party present who is not represented by the attorney and who's just with you in a personal capacity, what you say in front of that individual is not protected in all circumstances by attorney-client privilege. Because that person is a third party, and in the presence of that third party, you should expect to not have a certain degree of privacy, right? So if you say things in front of somebody else, basically the rule of thumb is, you know, the third party is not bound to secrecy, right? This is a secret made between you and the physician. The person being bound is the physician,
Right.
right? And you elect not to say anything,
Right.
Okay. So you eavesdropping on somebody, already big doo-doo. Already big no-no. You can't do that.
But what if, like, you're at the doctor's office, too, to, like, for your next, and they're just talking really loud through the door?
Okay, so here's an example. At my old doctor's office, my doctor recently moved. The walls were very thin, and my doctor really projects, and so I can basically hear what's going on during other people's doctor's appointments when I'm waiting for him to finish, because the walls were very thin. Okay? You know, I can't then report on what I hear because I didn't have a reasonable access. I was not an allowed party into the room. Right? Now, if the doctor comes out into the hallway and the patient goes, "So what you're saying is I have 6 weeks to live because I have feline AIDS?" Okay, like, you don't have privacy expectations in a hallway setting, always. I mean, maybe someone would go to court and argue that, but, like, if you're in a private waiting room or you're in a private doctor's office with your physician, there is an expectation of privacy that what you say in there is bound between you and your doctor. If the walls are not thick enough, or he does not have a white noise machine, that does not your privilege does not end. I will also go as this far as that then when you then receive information you were not illegally allowed to receive, you then cannot blackmail the recipient into not running the story. And if you do, you then cannot take the blackmail and run the story anyway, because who will believe you? Or the person who's dying. So, pretty shitty all around. Pretty unethical all around. I will say a few other things: that the Fly never established a record. The Fly never corroborated any of the information. The Fly made up information to get the corroboration. Yeah. And ultimately, I would say pretty poor job as far as journalism goes. Although I suspect that some of our listeners and maybe some friends of or family of our listeners might say, "Oh, it's par for the course for journalism today." So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to add other than saying, yeah, it's pretty par for the course of journalism today.
All right, then. There you go.
Oh, CJ, do you have any favorite songs from this?
Meet the Feebles.
Is it because it's the only one you remember?
Yep.
My favorite is, I did like, of course, the Meet the Feebles song. I liked the Lounge Flashback song. That's flashing back to when Heidi and Bletch first met each other.
I did like that.
I did like the Bulldog German opera song, whatever that was. But my favorite, I'm sorry, but it's gotta be the Fox director's Sodomy song. Because it is the only song that has been actively stuck in my head for the past week from this movie.
Well, I'm happy for you.
It's upbeat. It has repetitive lyrics. It has a flow to it. And it just feels like the catchiest song about sodomy I've heard in a long time.
There you go.
How about, did you have any favorite scenes in this movie?
No.
None?
No, my favorite Feeble is Wobbert.
Oh, so yeah, if you have a favorite Feeble, it is Wobbert?
Yes.
Okay. I like Wobbert. I like Wobbert's innocence. I think Wobbert is the closest thing to a grounding character in a human that we have in this.
Yes.
My favorites though, I love the warthog drug dealer, mainly when he golfs because he does the Happy Gilmore.
Yes.
Also, that golfing scene is just filmed in broad daylight in the middle of New Zealand. And
that is the one scene that looks really weird.
It's something straight out of Power Rangers. Like
yeah.
Big ass, like, what did you call them? Wearables?
Yeah.
These wearable puppets out in broad daylight. Like, I felt like Rita Repulsa was gonna burst onto scene any second.
It feels very Chuck E. Cheese somehow.
But I loved it because it was, to me, it has a degree of charm to it. The fact that they're like, yeah, let's just film him in broad daylight playing golf. So I like the golfing warthog. Later in the movie, when we return to the warthog, I loved his crab friends or enemies who all got great Gadspeed by the car. Loved those crab guys. Crabs are one of my favorite animals just because I think they're cool. So I loved seeing them big old guys. And then I also really liked the giant spider. I thought the giant spider kind of ruled.
Nice.
Yeah, love me a Muppet Shelob. How about mid movie, middle of the movie, as I often do, I'll check in and ask how we think this is going to end. And this being one that neither of us had seen, we were both able to make a prediction.
Mm-hmm.
So I specifically asked, how will the Variety Hour show go? CJ, your prediction, and I quote, terrible. People will die. We will see all the cum, blood, and guts we've already seen, and then some. My prediction, it'll go pretty good.
I think
Who was right? I think we were both right.
Well,
people died.
Sure.
Saw blood, guts.
Yeah.
Don't think we saw any cum. But
well, good.
It was a success. People cheered.
Yeah. Yeah, it was popular.
I'll mark that up as go both of us. Go both of us.
My record of predictions remains intact.
I don't know about that. Now, I want to take a moment to just run through a handful of things that grossed CJ out.
I'm going to take my headset off.
All right, I will message you when...
Thank you.
So,
sorry, audience. Fuck this.
This is not comprehensive, I should say. First off, CJ was grossed out by the fact that there was a talking fly. He just did not like the look of the fly and how it looked when we were close up. CJ also mentioned how there was that elephant who had all those like fuzz balls. The fuzz balls were all kind of gremlin-y, and one of them at one point was like covered in toothpaste. CJ did not like that. The fuzz balls then did get crushed, and there's just like little gore splatters, like little puppet gore splatters on the ground. That was when they all got rolled over by a barrel, and one of the skeevy rat ended up eating one of the fuzz balls. CJ did not like that. Heidi eating all of that cake and whatnot, eating all that slovenly with her hands, CJ did not like. And then Bletch the walrus throwing up that fish he ate. He threw that up on the golf course. The fly, we see the fly eating a bunch of shit in a toilet. When the rabbit is in like late onset rabbit AIDS and has these lesions all over himself, just generally his appearance, CJ did not like. Also did not like when the rabbit like threw up all over the stage. Specifically, did not like the look of the rabbit's tongue though. At one point, the rabbit sticks out his tongue and it just doesn't look good. The guy's seen better days. CJ did not like that. Heidi eating all the cake, I think I mentioned. Oh, when those crabs are all getting attacked on the docks, one of them gets stabbed and some yellow blood spurts out. CJ was not a fan. The rabbit, when he's getting ready to go out, he has like one of his lesions or something, all this pus squirts out on the mirror. Something straight out of The Substance. Truly, the rabbit was the substance at the end of the movie. It was crazy. Oh yeah, the rabbit's appearance at the variety hour and the vomiting. Oh, and then when the human puppet pulled his head out of his ass, his head was covered in shit. CJ did not like that. Okay, let me get back in here. Let's see how long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds it took CJ to get back in here. Mark it down.
I left my headset on.
You listened? You listened to that whole thing?
Yeah, I did.
Did I have it? Do you never take your headset off when you say you will?
No, I do.
Oh, how did I do?
You did really well.
Thank you.
Yeah, the tongue, the one that sticks with me the most is the fly in the shit bowl.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the whole movie sticks to me like fucking, but the fly in the shit bowl specifically, and the pus. Yeah, makes me literally. I'm like getting like nauseous thinking. Just like
random thing, I also had a lot of questions about how old Heidi was, because this movie takes place in like what, 88, 89, whenever it came out. There's a flashback to Heidi and Bletch meeting, and it is like black and white. It is a old-timey lounge. She like looks relatively the same age, but like that had to have been like 40, 50 years ago. So she's been around this whole time. So anyway, CJ, could you have done a Meet the Feebles? Well, it depends. No. Who am I? Oh, no. Wow. Just straight up no?
I don't want to.
Okay. Fair enough. Then how about we get to our titular question? Is the film okie dokie?
Listen, okay. I want to just take a moment to just say that I appreciate the efforts you went to make me involved in the second half of this episode. Because I really did not enjoy this movie. And I really have to say that it's not okie dokie, but to speak positively about it in the way that you have, and as we do agree on this, if you're interested in puppet work and you're interested in the presentation of it, and you've found the conversations that we've had surrounding the Muppets and what makes, you know, those sorts of performances work versus not work, yeah, and you like and you can tolerate the gross out humor in a way that I can't, I think that you will find a lot of enjoyment in this movie. However, as Tommy elucidated to earlier, I just do not enjoy the type of humor presented in this movie, and so I have to give it a thumbs down. The film is not okie dokie, but I also completely understand it is because I don't think this movie had a chance with me.
It was an uphill battle from the outset.
Sure.
I am gonna say, yeah, I think this is okie dokie for all the reasons CJ listed, and I personally was not too grossed out by it, so I was not off put by it in that way. And
thus, another tradition continues. I have not liked any of the movies that we have picked that I have not seen. That neither of us have seen.
Oh, that neither of us have seen?
Yeah. We read the list off in the pre-show.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, you're right. But granted, that's only like 3 or 4 movies of the 22, 23. So I think we got to up those numbers. I think we got to have more movies neither of us have seen. But before we can get to finding out what we're talking about next time and watching next time on The Film is Okie Dokie, we've got to recommend some things here in the rec room. CJ, wow, oh my God, did you light a candle in the rec room this week? It smells really nice in here right now.
Thank you. You know what? It smells like petrichor.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So I have a couple things to recommend. Recently, I have found myself going back and playing some games because I recently bought a Nintendo Switch 2, and I know that when it comes out, I'm going to be fully immersed in Mario Kart. So I said I'm not allowed to buy any new games until I complete some that are in my backlog.
Mm-hmm.
And so my first step to that was to play Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2, both games of which I 100%ed. I really loved those games. I think I already recommended Miles Morales.
I don't believe you did.
Okay. Okay, then great. Both these games are great. Miles Morales is about, 15, 20 hours to 100%, maybe less than that, 20 hours. Right around the 15-hour mark, I'd say. And Spider-Man to 100%, it took me about 30 hours. And both of them were very natural 100%. I really wanted to do all the stuff. As soon as it all became available to me, I went out and did it. The only thing I looked up were the last few spider bots that I was missing. But after a certain point, they just appear on your mini-map anyway, so it wasn't too bad. And the stories were really rich and it made me wish that more single-player games told stories like this, because at the end of the day, like, we are just in such a constant deluge of content being bombarded at us all the time from YouTube, TikTok, short form content, long form content. There's an endless stream of books, there's an endless stream of music, there's an endless stream of television shows, past, present, and future. Everything that has ever been created or ever will at the touch of a button at your fingertips. And with the quantity, it is just so hard to filter through and find the good stuff. And it's even harder to find the great stuff. And finding those two games was awesome. I loved the story. Both of them brought tears to my eyes, and they were just very touching. So I loved the gameplay loop. I was a big fan of the Arkham games. If you're a big fan of the Arkham games, you may find them enjoyable similarly the way that I did. But I would 100% go back and play them for the story, and I probably will in a few years.
Very nice. Anything else to recommend on top of those two?
I do. I have one more thing.
Nice.
I would like to recommend to all of you. I have been recently going back. I've been doing a little bit of spring cleaning. And, for example, yesterday, I got rid of a ton of old paperwork. I cleaned out my filing cabinet down to just the bare minimum things that I needed to keep. And among the things that I kept, like every pay stub that I'd ever received. Right? And so there is a feeling about letting go, but then at the same time, I've taken this opportunity to try and reconnect with days of yesteryear. And I found on eBay, it was recommended to me, it was a DVD sealed for a VHS tape that I had when I was a kid. And the nostalgia hit me, and I said, I'm going to buy this thing. And it is Sesame Street's Learning to Share, Children's Kids Guide to Life, featuring Katie Couric, in which Zoe and Telemonster want to play outside, but they can't because it's raining. So not Learning to Share, imagine that. I also bought Learning to Share. Telemonster and Zoe want to play outside, but they can't because it's raining. So they have to play inside, and they don't know how to play inside, so they have to figure out some things to imagine. And it is like 45 minutes, and you can find it on YouTube. It is Sesame Street, Imagine That. And it was just a touch of nostalgia for me. I found it on YouTube. I didn't open the DVDs because they were sealed, but I did buy them. And I was like, you know what? This is a nice touch from my childhood when things were easier. And the hardest problem that I had to face in a given day was, man, it's raining outside. So those are my recommendations.
Very nice. Very nice. I have a few. Oh, first I wanted to say, the PlayStation Marvel's Spider-Man games, great. Really enjoy them as well, to the point where I also 100%ed all of them. Like, really, the thing that I really enjoy about 100%ing those games is that it's not bloated to the point where 100%ing necessarily feels like a chore. There's always a little bit to do on the side while you're playing through the game, and then it's just a matter of kind of cleaning it up at the end, like, unless you do it before the end. But it's just always feels so manageable to do everything in those games, which is really, really nice.
And it felt like it tied into what you were doing in the story. It wasn't like, go pick up these 20 baubles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it felt like tied in.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, I think of those 3 games, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2, I think my favorite might be the first one. But that's not to say that there aren't like a ton of things like that specifically making those side things feeling more tied into the game. Like Spider-Man 2 really does a good job improving on that from the first game and kind of dialing back a little bit on the side content, making a bit more focused but less expansive, which I thought really worked for it.
Yeah, I agree.
So first thing that I will recommend is also a game. I think this might be the first game I'm recommending on the podcast. But I will recommend Blueprints.
I knew you were going to recommend that.
Yeah.
All right.
I was on the fence about recommending it. It's a puzzle game. If you've ever played Betrayal at House on the Hill before, it is a roguelike game where there is a manor that is a 9x5 grid of 45 rooms. And as you explore the house, every time you go to open a door to go to a new room, you are drawing a couple room tiles to choose to lay down. Similar to how in Betrayal you draw a tile and add it to your house. That's what you're doing in this game. And your goal from the outset is to find the 46th room. And it's a really terrific puzzle game. It's one of those games where you're going to have notes that you're taking by hand, or you'll have a spreadsheet that you update. I myself had an enormous spreadsheet dedicated to the game filled with screenshots and notes. One of those games where it's like, there is a narrative, there is a story there, but you really have to piece it together. And I got credits in the game. I put about 20 to 25 hours into it, I would guess. Let me see. Yeah, about 24 hours. And I am far from finishing the game, but I'm retiring the game for myself for now. I got the credits, and I was on the fence about recommending it just because if you want to solve everything and get the full story, you're probably going to be playing this game like 120 to 150 hours, something ridiculous. It's a loaded game, but wow. It's really, really fun if that's your type of game and you just want to play it for the main story. It does get a little grindy if you're going to go for all of like learning everything. But I've said this to a few people talking about this game. In a few years, there's going to be like a 6-hour YouTube video explaining all of the mysteries and how they all connect and the full story of the game. And I can't wait to watch that. So Blueprints, really, really fun. Can't recommend it enough if you are into puzzle games like that or like Return of Obra Dinn. It's a bit less logic-y than Return of Obra Dinn and a bit more just a bit more puzzly and roguelike in general. But like Return of Obra Dinn, Case of the Golden Idol, Chance of Sinar, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, all these types of games, check out Blueprints. The other things I had to recommend are 2 TV shows. The first is The Rehearsal. Nathan Field, season 2 of The Rehearsal. If you're unfamiliar with The Rehearsal, it is Nathan Fielder's show that is in season 2 now. If you are unfamiliar with Nathan Fielder, he is he is a comedian / writer / actor / filmmaker who more or less knows the exact right questions to ask people to get just wild shit out of them. And he himself is playing like a exaggerated version of himself. And more or less the show, The Rehearsal, is he helps people with difficult things in their lives by essentially creating that situation for them to rehearse hundreds of times. He will build out a 1-to-1 replica of like for example, in season 1, there's a guy who needs to have a difficult conversation with his brother. So Nathan hires a dude to play the brother. The guy does a bunch of research into the brother so he can play the role accurately. They recreate the coffee shop that this is going to take place in, this conversation, and they have it. This guy practices the conversation. It's that type of thing. And season 2 is just so wild and so absurd. It's truly something else. So if you want to watch something that's just crazy off the wall, unlike anything you've ever seen, go check out The Rehearsal. Start with season 1, then go on to season 2. If you're looking for a lot of stuff to watch, check out Nathan For You first, which is Nathan's show before The Rehearsal. It's not required, but I do think watching Nathan For You first really adds to it, especially because he does call back to Nathan For You at times in The Rehearsal. But the last thing I wanted to recommend is the second show I wanted to rec is Andor. Season 2 is just wrapping up. As I say this now, we have 3 episodes left that are actually releasing in just like a couple hours, though I won't be able to watch them until this upcoming weekend. But season 2 is just proving incredible. It is more of what made season 1 so remarkable. Such a breath of fresh air when it comes to Star Wars. Such a incredible story about rebellion and a revolution. And I can't recommend it enough. It is my favorite Star Wars anything. Who knows? Maybe the final 3 episodes are going to be big ol' stinkers, but the show is yet to have a stinker episode. So I'm excited, and I would like to recommend that. But just to recap,
really?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
My question was, isn't Andor only 2 seasons?
Correct.
So this is the series finale too.
Yes.
Right.
So just to recap, the 3 things I recommended were Blueprints, the game, again, and that is spelled blue space Prince. I recommended The Rehearsal and Andor. CJ, you want to run back through real quick what you recommended?
I recommended Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2 for the PS5, or I guess you can get them wherever you get your favorite video games. And I also recommended Imagine That, a Sesame Street special from the 90s.
Very nice. And I think it's about time for CJ. Looks like, oh my God, CJ's just walking up to the podium, grabbing the microphone.
Thank you, everybody. Did you know this was actually part 1 in our 2-part duology on parodies and deconstructions?
Oh, really?
Yes, because next time on the Film is Okie Dokie, we are going to be watching Young Frankenstein.
Ooh, exciting.
Have you ever seen that movie before?
I did as a teenager. It's been a long time, though, so I don't remember a whole lot, but I do remember liking it.
It has been a while for me as well. So
Awesome.
I remember liking it. But yeah, that's it. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you like the show, remember to like us, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. If you only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. Shout out to Bomani Jones at Wave Sports and Entertainment for the quip.
As always, go join our Discord server. There is a link in the show notes. And as always, be sure to recommend us to friends because that is how we get new listeners. Also, why don't you just grab your friend's phone, pull up their podcast catcher, and type in The Film is Okie Dokie and press play on an episode. Maybe subscribe to the feed, and then next time they go to watch their podcast, they'll be like, what the heck? When did I get blitzed out of my mind and start listening to this podcast? I have no recollection of this. Just trick your friends into watching. Tell them it's a show about, I don't know, what's something that your friend would like. Think about something your friend would like and be like, guy, have I got a podcast for you about that specific, about welding motorcycles? Have I got a show for you about that? Check out The Film is Okie Dokie. And they're going to be like, why is it called that if it's about welding motorcycles? And then you just got to listen to it.
Don't worry about it.
Exactly. Yeah. So
all
thank
right.
you all for listening. And we will see you in 2 weeks on the next episode of The Film is Okie Dokie.
All right, I've been CJ.
I've been Tommy.
Go away now.
Peace.
Fucking hate the Feebles, man.
Wow.